Well, when it comes to a circuit like this, we are very used to prototypes. We are very used to GT spec. We are very used to the pinnacle of racing being twice around the clock and give yourself the best result you can. What we are not used to around this place is the inception of an Indycar looking to try and tackle itself through these hallowed halls. And while most of the time at most circuits, we believe that every Indycar can, today we believe they can't. And that is the battleground that we have sat for everybody today. My name's Jake Sperry, got John Harris along with me for today's action of your Creator Series. Welcome to a special event, and John, how brilliant this is today.
Oh yeah, something I think everybody's been looking forward to, and it's just an amazing concept, isn't it? As close as you can get to a Formula spec car, and I know that the speeds in practice have been absolutely just mesmerizing, really. Some people getting so close to that 3-minute lap time. I mean, that terms of pace is just diabolical in my opinion.
It's a circuit that needs no introduction. It's 13.5 kilometers. It's 32 turns of pure racing perfection, and you'll get the chance to see that over the course of 24 racing laps here today. But this marks a small break in the calendar. It's not all championship with Creator Series. This is a chance to say, look, we're going to have a bit of fun. We're going to have a race where it's just going to be about pride and honor and tradition that we will set here today. And John, when it comes to that, it's a sense of, you look around, drivers like Sparks, for example, drivers like Greedy Me, drivers like Ryan L83, kiss the championship out the window for a week. Just go out there and win. Yeah,
exactly. It's one of those, tracks that are considered part of the Triple Crown, so no matter what cars you drive around it, everybody wants to win it. It's a very unique track as well. You get the feeling as a driver, if you can win around such an iconic track, you have something special. And so it's almost like I don't want to call it an ego trip, but sort of, in the fact that I went there, I did it, I was victorious, and especially with no points on the table, well, what have you got to lose? With that slipstream, it's going to be chaos, I can guarantee you.
Yeah, we've been keeping an eye on that over the course of practice. But let's talk about that championship and where it is and what it's been getting up to and where we are in terms of this season as well, which I think will be really important as far as the championship goes. So we'll be keeping our eyes peeled on that. We will have a lot of running that will be coming along over the course of the next couple of weeks, with ovals on the mind at USA International Speedway, and then of course we'll also have the Roval race at Charlotte Motor Speedway to come along with that too, so we'll keep an eye out on that as it goes. There is your calendar, but Alton Park critically the one in the middle before the break week hits, and then you are in for that finish over with Charlotte Roval and the Cup course at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, quite high-speed tracks, and so, well, apart from Charlotte Roval, that's kind of a mix between the two, and so, as we've said before, challenging calendar for everybody to get used to. I think this week might actually throw some people off, because, you've got used to the F4 car, and now you do some IndyCar racing, and, this might be a challenging prospect, that's for sure. But looking at that calendar, I mean, we've got some drama to come, haven't we?
We certainly do, and we know that there are 4 distinct different types of racing there. USA International, the oval round, then of course you've got a full road course there, as we take a little look into the final throws of practice before qualifying will bring itself to the order, and then we will put ourselves in, and that's what can happen out of Indianapolis corner, and you're always trying to fight. Now they will be on road spec, as we just saw Super Noodle Bagel there trying to go through, so they are going to be trying to play as much of the game that they can. So this is going to be a case of, are you going for simple tyres out there, or the harder base tyres, or are you going for those red sticker tyres, which are a softer compound out there, but will give you that ability to go further at the cost of losing all your time when it comes to just keeping them in a range that works for them in terms of tyre wear?
Yeah, you can see already just at the end of the lap, everybody's struggling a little bit, or indeed at turn 1 at the Dunlop chicane right there. It's very difficult on the brakes, and I must say, they have been running into not an issue, but just a quirk with the car, that you're going so fast on the straight. Remember, we've got no chicanes on this one. We are doing the old-fashioned layout of the Molzan straight, and that means that the tyres get so hot on the straight because you're going so fast that in Mulsanne corner they're actually struggling to get on the brakes. So there's a bit of an interesting quirk indeed in qualifying, in that they will be starting the race on the same compound of tyres. So theoretically, if you want to get yourself a great start to the race or get a great qualifying position, you want to go on the softer compound. But that tyre wear will have effect from lap 1, I think.
Well, no stranger to old school cars is Moonhead out there, who's known for the 1987 races that you see out there on iRacing around Talladega. But what he will note today here, John, is that they'll be running as we hit the end of the checkered flag of practice. That this is effectively a 1987 spec of this circuit, the 24-hour Du Mans, in the sense that we have no chicanes to break it up on the Mulsanne.
Yeah. So the Daytona chicane and Michelin chicane are completely gone. That means that the Hunaudière corner should be still flat out, but there is a slight more chance to get airborne. Mark Webber would know some things about that. But as for the rest of the layout, it's all the same. All of the modifications to the track were made in the 60s and 70s. So yeah, it's a familiar layout as we get into qualifying now. 10 minutes on the timer, which in best case scenario, according to my calculations, is 2 competitive laps if they get back into the pits of Swiftish. So it's going to be so tricky, and I think maybe drivers will be going for like a one-shot qualifying type thing, as we see Punju straight out of the pits trying to get the optimum track position. There's also a case of, do you want to slipstream someone on the straights? It's going to be an interesting qualifying session, that's for sure.
Well, who is going to find a set that works for them, and who is going to stand up and say, what do you need to do? I would be concerned out there if you were starting this one out on those red sticker tyres, because you need them over the course of this 10 minutes of qualifying to operate at the best window that they can. If you take too much out of them on your outlap, and it is a 3 to 3.5 minute outlap, you're not going to have any tyre to work with for your qualifying laps. Whereas if you do decide to go away from the red sticker tyre, go back over to the prime out there, and you sit down, and now you get the understanding of, okay, I will not have the ability, John, to go out there and set the fastest lap I possibly can, but my tyres will be in a range where I can get the best out of the time.
Yeah, the difficult thing here is you're building up that tyre temperature, as you say, throughout the Mulsanne straight, and then you get to Mulsanne corner, you've got another straight, so you're building up more temperature, and then you get to Indianapolis, Arnage, Porsche curves, and the Ford chicane all in succession. So if you've overheated those tyres, especially the softer compound, there's just no saving them at the end of the lap. So this might be an actual case where you have to sort of back off a little bit in certain corners just to preserve the tyres so that you don't cut a corner or indeed get some oversteer. It's a very technical one, and I'm not sure that most drivers will have an optimal strategy, or a strategy let alone. We saw in qualifying or in practice, quite a few drivers just pushing the limits and finding out that quite simply you cannot push the limits all the time.
No, this isn't a circuit that you can definitely 100% push. It does make life very difficult for those who are out there and saying this is what they are capable of doing. So just keep that in mind as they look to try and push that forward and say, look, this is where you need to be on top form out there overall here today. Now there is Greedy Me, who is working his way out then of Arnage and now heading towards the Porsche curves. I would say a driver who will have a good understanding of where to be over the course of pace. Did a 3:13.2 in practice, is currently looking around with the 4th best iRating in this field, and there is a driver who needs no introduction, Quentin Dalolmo.
Yeah, possibly I'd say one of the drivers that might struggle a little bit with the tyres. I know he's got quite an aggressive driving style, you know, coming from that rallycross background. Hitting the wall in the Porsche curves, not the ideal strategy, I must say, but he's gotten away with it. So he'll be getting to start his lap in just a few corners' time. I mean, the driving styles around here will cater to different capabilities. You've got some very fast flowing corners, but then you've got Indianapolis, Arnage, and the chicanes at the end of the lap, as we've got Punju starting his quali lap now. You can see the timer down as he goes into the Dunlop chicane. It's quite bouncy, the car over the curb, so you've got to be really careful on the traction through the S's. You've got to just try and keep the car in its sweet spot. It's got a lot of downforce, so you have to use that and just be confident, and then you settle in through Tertre Rouge and try and get a great exit, because that exit counts even more today, as you are flat out now for about 40 to 50 seconds.
It's a long time at full throttle, and so you have to be making sure that you are taking the best line out there that you possibly can. And what I'm interested about is how drivers are looking to set this up and what is the quickest. Now, they'll look to try and take the toe of drivers in front, but what I'm surprised at is that we haven't seen drivers like Punju try and go for the crown of the road, because this is a part of the circuit that falls over with all the tractors that come along this section of road and all of the car traffic that runs on through. It actually crowns in the middle of the road, and so when you've got yourself up on the highest section of the road on a crown, it means that it's the best bit of road for the contact patches of the tyres. Look at that wiggle.
Yeah, it's so bumpy as well, because obviously being resurfaced, and it's used all year round, so in the rainy seasons you get a little bit of track deformation, and it's a main road especially as well, because people will remember incidents where drivers have gone wide through Tertre Rouge and had to go round the roundabouts to get back on the track, quite literally. So you can see that oversteer. Look at that. The rear tyres have no grip left. They are burning up right there. So Punju keeping it under control, keeping it within track limits, but that is the limit of grip that they are dealing with right now. It's on the edge, seat of your pants type stuff right now.
Well, while this section seems pretty, I would say, calm out there, once you get to the Porsche curves, you're putting the wear through the tyres, then even more than what you're just doing by raising the heat profile on the straights. That's where the scary factor is going to be. Already down to 4 minutes in qualifying, so you're only going to get really 2 attempts at it to go and make it work, and if you don't get it over the line in time, you're going to be on the wrong side of Lady Luck. You've got Infratic there as well. Fabio's going to try and chance his arm here today at Le Mans and see whether he's going to get everything that he wants out there, and is going to abandon off the racing line there, give Punju a little bit of a scare before trying to get up to speed, working hard through now the karting S's, as it's known here, this flick left passing the Alain Prost circuit there on the right-hand side through Maison Blanche, and now over towards the rear Cour de Mont on to the circuit. So this Ford chicane will come up first, the left followed by the right. Get as aggressive as you can, and then the rear Cour de Mont with the Bugatti circuit that leads over to the line. Here's the benchmark coming across, a 3:13 flat. Says good enough for Punju out there, 0.8 quicker than his best time. Greedy Me short by 1.2.
Yeah, the gaps are going to be quite big, obviously a 3-minute lap, so you will see gaps of probably a couple of tenths of a second. If we see sometimes within a couple of hundredths, I think some drivers might be a little bit disappointed. Lamp throwing it through the Ford chicane, the Raccord de Mont, really difficult. You can see the car bouncing on one tyre at most through there. Is it a good lap? I think it's 3:11. Yeah, that's a wonderful lap. 1.6 seconds. Clear at the front. Contandel almost slots into P4 there. So there's quite a big gap between the front runners, but in that midfield section it's going to be so tricky. Also, a lot of gravel being drawn onto the circuit there might hamper lap times.
It might do, especially when you need as much grip as you can, and so the corners are certainly going to be worth keeping in mind. That 3:11 from Lamp is certainly a huge margin. You want to try and hold on to that. Brendan Hyperstar then just cooling off and getting ready for one big attempt out there. So his opening lap hasn't gone to plan, and so he'll be looking to try and get himself in the best place possible. Chesnoy Gaming out there looking to make his push. Moonhead just behind that he'll be giving a little bit of a toe to as they work towards the Porsche curves, and it's very quick. You can see there the high front wing that they're running here today, needing as much downforce as they possibly can, trying to kick as much air up over the top of the profile of the tyres.
Yeah, that does mean that we will not see the record of 405 kilometers per hour beaten on the Mulsanne straight, sadly, because of all of that aero balance. But I'm sure through the Porsche curves right now, Alex Gillen will be wanting all of that downforce and into the karting corner. So just you've got to take as much speed as you can. But as you can see, the banking there really throws you off on these corners. You have to sort of tread carefully with the front tires to not get any understeer, but you know, Alex is used to this kind of high downforce car. Will he brake? He takes quite an unorthodox line into the Ford chicanes. This isn't going to help him. There's a car just rejoining the track, taking it quite conservatively. Will it be a good lap across the line? It's been tidy, but is it good enough? P4. I think he might be a little bit disappointed with that, as that is 2 seconds off the pace.
Well, it's 2 seconds right now off the pace, and he's doing very well at the moment, but catches a massive slide going through the Dunlop chicane there, and he's got a livery that is, when it came up onto screen, our producer Gareth Allen turned into getting a coughing fit out there, so it certainly is something for the eye, has to be said, out there, but they are down to 18 seconds, so we could be at the limit already with qualifying attempt out there. Hayden Gullis, I don't think is going to get around in time to even set one. He is on his outlap right now, and he has not timed that well. Checker flag's going to come out, and he's going to be mired at the back. So it did not work out for Hayden Gullis. So Infratic will be the first to the line, looking to go and try and jump up. It's still 1.3 to the good for Lamp, nearly 1.4. Wiggle on power for Infratic. A 3:13.7 is good enough to go P5 with that attempt. So there will be all about how many drivers can make the push up. Brendan Hyperstar going through the middle sector, heading through now towards the karting S's and Maison Blanche. It's Ryan L83 who could do something, John.
Yeah, for sure. A little bit of a lock-up there. Really, really tricky. I think we're not on board with Ryan right now. But now we are into the Ford chicane. So this is the last part of the lap, taking it very aggressively. He's always been doing that in practice, and he's been making it work. It looks like the car's still hooked up. The rear tires still have the grip in them. Will the time be there? Cross the line. And it is a pole position, well, provisional at the moment, a 3:10. That is incredible. That's demoralising for everybody else, surely.
Well, it's tough, especially because it's 0.6 of a second faster than Lamp, who is in the pits and can't really do anything about that. Racing Chai could be someone out there trying to get that one sorted in the Sanrio machine of Hello Kitty colours, looking to try and get it done here today in Le Mans. So pushing through now, looking to be so aggressive now through this section of Maison Blanche, through the karting S's, and now looking to try and open up the end of the lap. This is where you've got to be so switched on to what this IndyCar can do. You can see he's having to grab every corner, fighting for traction, and round you go. Racing's lap will be invalidated then as he loses it on the final corner and will have to start from the back. Here comes Brendan Hyperstar. Is he there to spoil Ryan Littlemore's party here? Makes the charge for the line. 3:10.8 to beat. Hyperstar 13.5. Oh my, not going to work on the roads.
That lockup that we saw was Brendan Hyperstar there into Mulsanne corner. So that is devastating, really, for his time. I think the Sparks were on board with here, trying to set a lap. I mean, they're just going into the Porsche curves right now, if I'm correct. Yes, indeed. So very, very tricky part of the lap. I think the IndyCar, or IndyCant, I should say, is just the last chicane. The tires are appearing to just completely drop off. So let us see. Is Sparks on the lap? I'm not exactly sure. It doesn't look like it.
No, he's not.
For the moment. So, yeah, he's missed out, hasn't he?
He has. He's just gone out on an outlap at the worst possible time, so he'll have to go from the back. And that, as far as qualifying will go, will be that.
A few drivers are missed out.
The field is stacked and set. Ryan L83 will take the pole. Lamp then will be in second, and unsafety car 1 will be Nick Pakin for today. We'll be going from third with Punju in fourth. It's then Alex Gillen and Brendan Hyperstar fifth and sixth. Infratic will go from seventh with Greedy Meat in eighth, and then your two VTubers out there, Reska Kyoso and Lithfox, who will round out your top 10. Just 17 setting times in qualifying with Matt 212 and Conton Dal Olmo in 11th and 12th. Super Noodle Bagel will go from 13th ahead of Josh's Corner and Storm Molina. You've then got Grand Poubert and Chesnoy Gaming then in play. So the rest of the field will drum up by iRacing, which means it will then be Sparks, Hayden Gullis, Racing Chai, and Cephalosis, and then Moonhead, who will be your field to stack here today of 22 creators in this creator series battle. A look there as we wait for qualifying to go to warm up, John, at the Stade Marie-Marvant, a fantastic stadium, home of the Le Mans 92 Football Club, and as well the very good Le Mans Rugby Union team.
Yeah, I mean, sport is a mainstay of everything in France, and a lot of French people just consider this track as like a national monument. Really, it's something that is venerated, and as soon as there is talks of closing part of the track or renovating part of the track, you have people that are very happy to have it happen, but also people that want it preserved as is. So it's quite a balancing act for the organisers, and I know for a long time that French authorities have tried to close the Mulsanne Strait, for example, to traffic, or put some sort of measures in effect, but the French people always fight back on that. And it's lovely to see, because having all the venues in the same place means that it's just easy for the public to get there. And it's one of those tracks where spectating is lovely, because you can just walk around the track, go next to a fence, and there you go, you've got a view of the tracks. One of the few circuits, I think, where that's now possible, seeing with all the safety measures. Quite an old school track, in my opinion.
It reminds me of the Roubaix Velodrome in that sense, that you have such a wonderful sense of camaraderie with France, that you've got the sense of this is a place that will remember history and is a place that is built on tradition and building upon it time and time again. The drivers now working themselves out to warm up then at this moment. Ryan L83 looks to want to have a little bit of a chat with us, so we'll bring him in for a conversation. Ryan, that's pole by 0.6 of a second. Was that hidden away in the back pocket somewhere in a latent drawer?
Probably yes. I bailed on the first lap because I overcooked the tyres on the outlap, so just did a bit of a cool down. Tyre temp went down and just went for it. If I didn't get it, it would be, but I love this car. So especially in the road configuration of the car, so, and Le Mans, so, or Circuit de la Save, or whatever you have to call it. But no, I was quite surprised with the lap, because I was expecting Lamp to be up there with me, so we'll see.
In terms of the tyres, I think if my data's correct, you're starting on the softer compound tyre. So we've seen a lot of drivers struggle throughout the lap with temperatures and all of that. Where do you think the tyres are they're most vulnerable, and do you see any problems with that going into the race?
Well, to correct you, I'm actually on the slower tyre, on the primary tyre. It's weird INDYCAR how they've determined what it is, but I'm on the slower tyre. But the tyres are going to be a factor, because the red tyres don't last long. The rears get really hot, and then when you get to Porsche curves, you get a lot of oversteer, and the car is wanting to basically spin in testing that I've done. So I will expect many of the people who have started on the reds to pit early to just get rid of them and just stay on the primary tyres. So even the primary tyres are going to be ones to manage as well. After about 3 and a bit laps, you start to feel the rear go a little bit. So everyone's going to be in the same boat, but I'll be surprised if anybody lasts longer than 2 laps on the alternates, because they're not a great race tyre.
Well, we will hope that you will be able to last over the course of racing. Ryan L83 there, your pole sitter for today's racing action here from Le Mans, and we will be in for an absolute showcase of what the Creator Series is all about, from top to bottom out there, because it's not just a case here, John, of drivers looking to push and say, what can they do? It will be a case of where can they go, as we'll take a little look at your grid in full then as they get themselves ready for racing action with about 1 minute and 40 seconds before they will take to their grid and their warm-up that will bring itself through. But John, a really important key for them is to make sure that they hold themselves steady and give themselves a chance by the time they get to lap 24, because this will open up. Ryan L83 will be there as your pole sitter. Lamp will be alongside on that front row. Then it's Nick Pakin in third, and Punju then will be going from fourth position. In fifth for this will be Alex Gillen, as Brendan Hyperstar, who won your Creator Series Indy 500, will go from sixth. And then following that in 7th and 8th, it's Infratic and Greedy Me there in that 48 car. It's then Reska Kyoso and Lithvox who will be working together to move up from the 5th row of the grid, with Matt 212 doing it for Wales and Compton Dal Olmo on home soil, looking to make that push 11th and 12th. Super Noodle Bagel and Josh's Corner will house row 7 of the grid. Inside of 8 is Storm Molina in 15th, with Grand Pooh Bear then alongside. It then follows Chesnoy Gaming and Sparks, the first driver not to set a representative lap time, with Hayden Gullis a few seconds short, alongside a good buddy of battling Razin Chai, as Ancephalosis will be there. And of course, Scotty Designs will be running around then with the unsafety car, as well as the likes of Moonhead down at the back in 23rd position, looking to style and aura as terms of the way this race will go. But John, it's about hold your nerve.
Yeah, for sure. Hold your nerve, stay out of trouble. There's going to be a lot of slipstreaming, counter slipstreaming, whatever you want to call it. And it's going to be chaos into the Mulsanne corner, I think, on lap 1. I think the difficulty of this track is, and especially with these cars, is you've got to play the long game, right? You know, you've got to understand that the tyres will light up. You've got to keep everything under control. And if you try and go for a race win on lap 1, you're going to put yourself well out of position, either into the pit stops or indeed just later on into the race. So we could see a variety of stuff. Fuel saving, for example, from what I remember correctly from the drivers talking, it's between 2 laps in terms of the fuel, so you might see some drivers lifting and coasting, or some drivers going flat out, electing to pit a little bit earlier. It's going to be chaos, and that's why we love it. I'm so hyped up for this race.
I am too, and it looks like as the tricolor goes over, it's a standing start, which is going to be very unique for all of these drivers, because traditionally, this is a car that you have to get someone to stick something in the rear exhaust to get it to start firing up and working on all cylinders. So as that all sets, it's going to be a very tough ordeal for all of these drivers. The good luck call then for absolutely everyone, as the field is now on the grid, but there will be now a case of who is set, who is ready, and who can navigate with what they have available to them. Now is the time to prove that they have got themselves with everything that they've got, and they will look at this and say, look, we've got 1 minute before the lights will start to form themselves up and get themselves ready. They will have the chance to sit and bask in what are some pretty good conditions for racing. It's a 24-degree track temperature, slightly on the cold side here today at the Circuit des 24 Heures du Mans. So this will be a tough run. Watch out for those who will have to go straight on at the opening chicane. That one will be the Dunlop chicane, and then up over the top of over the top of the Descente de la Chapelle into Tetra Rouge. It is going to be all about who can do their level best with this one. A very distinct mix between drivers, between going on the primary or, of course, that option which is there. It's now time to get yourself set and ready, because it's only 24 laps for a circuit that normally does 24 hours. Your Creator Series INDYCAR special is underway. Lightning start by Ryan L83, and look out from Brendan Hyperstar. Got a very good launch there off of the front of the field. So too did Greedy Me as they work themselves up towards that Dunlop chicane. Lamp and Nick Pakin have held themselves steady in second and third, and Nick defends the line and takes second away.
Yeah, that was great driving from Greedy Me to try and get the start, just lighting up the tyres. But in the midfield, Alex Gillen's got swallowed up a little bit, and he's stuck behind, well, wanting to use the softer compound tyre, going wide as well. He's about to get overtaken by Punju, I think that is, but Punju decided to not hold it round the outside. You've got to bide your time, especially into Tetra Rouge. You do not want to get a snap of oversteer. And on already to the Mulsanne straight, Ryan L83 has checked out in the lead.
Yeah, one spinner at the start. That was Grand Poubert. 3 wide. They're going to start pushing here as Infratic has Lithium Fox and Reska Kyoso. But you're going to find that sync gear isn't really going to work today. So you've got to work out where's the right place to start making that move. Great little cut throughs from different areas. You've got Alex Gillen having to pull back into line with Greedy Me, and you're going to have to start working the train tactics. Look how busy it is in the middle. And one car absolutely dropped like a stone, and it's Brendan Hyperstar who wants none of it.
Yeah, I think just maybe saving fuel or just getting out of it, because you're about to approach Hunaudière at full speed. That is the Michelin chicane that you normally see and you normally go through, but we're going flat out here through Hunaudière. Thankfully, not too bouncy for all of the cars. They've got a lot of downforce, but I mean into this braking zone when you're going 4 cars deep like this. Yeah, quite rightly so, some cars backing off. But look at the gap that Ryan has, 1 second, even with that slipstream. It is Nick Pakin that makes it into P2, but there's a lot of gravel on track. Alex Gillen just trying to get around the outside of Punju, but it's not happening really. And Greedy Me still keeping that advantage as well in P4. So he's at the front of the train now, not exactly where you want to be.
Infratic with a little tag against Reska Kyoso will be a little bit concerned about it, but Gillen now trying to get by Punju, trying to get by Greedy Me. They've sorted themselves out, top 3 clear at the moment, side by side. Lithium Fox and Storm Molina going at it. Lithium, he's got what he wants at the moment and knows that there's a group behind trying to get through. Josh's corners there with Super Noodle Bagel, Razin Chai, Brendan Hyperstar might want to get back into it as well. So it's a huge slew at the moment, and this is what we love. Slipstream style racing bringing itself to the front. Lamp now gets the clearance on Nick Bacon and can start using that pace that he's got underneath him to try and work through these Porsche curves and say, this is where I can start building that gap back down again. He's already cut it down to 1.3.
Look at the difference in tyres as well. Punju on the softer compound tyres. Whoa, both Lamp and Nick Pagan go really, really wide, so just keeping it under control. All of the soft compound runners are already dropping the pace. Punju cannot keep the pace. Greedy Me is stuck behind, and Alex Gillen just can't do anything. And look at the amount of speed, apex speed, that Greedy Me is able to carry. Although he's gone wide there, he's going to clout the curb, and this might give a run to Alex. Can he get the overspeed? He's going to get the slipstream into Dunlop curve, but it's such a tricky braking zone. You've got to turn, get it onto the apex and get it stopped at the same time. Let's see if he goes for it. Alex Gillen decides to not do it. I mean, I thought he was going for it then, but no, it's defending against Matt 212 because out of nowhere he's got the slipstream, and here comes Infratic as well.
And drivers in the pits here, Encephalosis, Reska Kyoso and Lithium Fox. So both the VTubers have come in and pitted. That's wide from Greedy Me, having to really rag on it. Sparks as well into the pits, but on to the Mulsanne. Then for the second launch along and working on then past this run with no chicanes to help them. It is all about pure pace that is needed to be had, and now it's all about, can you get speed and can you jump on up? Matt 212 getting freight trained then. You've got to be very careful about going too wide. You need to have the overspeed, because the moment that you get buffeted by that wall of air, if you don't have someone helping you push through that section, it's tough. And now to the outside, trying to get a bit of side draft here is Matt 212. That will force then Alex Gillen to try and go through on Greedy Me, and we are 3 wide.
This is absolutely ridiculous, because as soon as one car gets ahead, they give the slipstream, and then it's just a tug of war, really. Nobody winning out, really. Alex on the inside, but that is only temporarily, as Infratic is looking for a gap, just not finding anything. He's going to go for it, but Alex closes the door on the inside, saying you just can't do it through here. Infratic backing off and saying, well, look, you guys fight it out. Matt 212 breaks early. Infratic nearly collects him, but Greedy Me defends the place second in the pecking order, at least. Infratic getting so loose right there. Storm Molina also drafting onto the back of them as well. So there's a lot of people that are just not stuck in position, but just looking for a strategy. And you'll notice as well that they have a push to pass button, which could come into great effect today in terms of just trying to get a run on somebody.
Yeah, you only have limited uses of that push to pass, so be careful of it. And there is Nick Pakin holding off Punju then for position. But oh no, Fabio's gone around. He's spun it, he's put it in the wall, then coming through Indianapolis corner. Also off with Super Noodle Bagel, but Infratic going around and finding that that is a very, very sketchy corner when you are just too aggressive over the inside curb.
Yeah, we were seeing in the Dunlop curves, or Dunlop chicane, I should say, that the cars were just bouncing on the inside, and let's see what happened here. So, side by side with Matt, 2-on-2. Matt goes in very, very aggressively, and just over the curb. I think also he saw Matt just going a little bit wide and thought, oh, I need to get on the brakes here, and then he's just completely locked up and spun around, and that is indeed a decidedly bad-looking rear wing right there.
Well, while you also say that, I see Moonhead down in the pits right now with a toe. So it looks like something's gone wrong out there on track there for him in terms of this one. He's been battling about. The rear wing was off the car, so I think he's had a spin in the final corners. And so that certainly opened up all the dramas there. So got there a little bit of a slide and then up over the top of both curbs and then round, and that is a very hefty crash for a place, and a worse place to have a crash as well, John, because you have to take the whole lap around at pace to get yourself back in, or take the longest tow in iRacing.
Yeah, it's not as if this is one of the longest tracks in most parts of the world, so it's a very, very short lap of only 3 minutes at the best of pace and circumstances. It's very unfortunate. Yeah, just bouncing over the sausage curb, really, and once you've done that, the suspension's so stiff that you just go boing, boing, boing into the barriers. There's not much you can do about it. You're a passenger. But it looks like Matt, 2-on-2, has got the pedal to the metal right now and just trying to catch the back of Greedy Me, who is also closing in on Punju. Now, Nick Pakin's been losing a huge amount of time, even though he's on the harder compound tyre. So I'm not exactly sure what's happened here, but Punju was so close to closing in. Greedy Me's got a huge run right now on Punju, just the slipstream coming into effect. But you can see, as soon as he pulls out of that slipstream, he's in 6th gear and it bogs down. You have to shift back down to 5th gear. And then the slipstream game starts all over again. It's like a tug of war that you can never win, essentially.
I wonder whether Punju went too far wide at Tetra Rouge corner, and that served a slowdown penalty for him on the straight. Brought the next group along, and so that's Greedy Me through, and now Matt 2-on-2 looking to make it happen, and a switch up for the race lead. Lamb gets it done at Mulsanne corner, and now moves up the place as Racing Chai drops one to Canton del Olmo, that for 9th place out there at the moment. But Ryan's not going to sit down and let this one go. He's going to very much try and find this move. Is going to be very happy to have the side-by-side battle as they run over towards Indianapolis, and the outside line turns to the inside. Look at the confidence of Lamp on the brakes. He can chuck it in a bit deep. Both of them struggling through the corners then as they try and work through. And now onto the exit of the corner. Lamp locks one up, and so Ryan's got nowhere to go. He can't turn, and suddenly he's going to need to drive off the exit. This would be a great place for a push to pass, and it looks like it.
Oh, 2 drivers fumbling both parts of that chicane complex. That's so unfortunate. You can see they were making mistakes just trying to avoid each other, and it's just compromised their time. They're still side by side into the Porsche curves. Ryan gets inside. What has happened to Punju? It looks like maybe a spin has happened. We'll try and get cameras on that. Here we go, replay. So let's see, just exiting Indianapolis there behind Matt 2-on-2. So he's got overtaken. Is he going to light up the tyres? Yeah, on the curb. And a little bit of dust maybe, and that's in the barrier, missing that front nose cone. So he's going to have to pit to repair that. That's so unfortunate. He was doing so well. Oh, and the suspension is not looking too great either.
Well, they have 4 fast repairs available to them here in this race. And look on board, you can see, no, back just stepping out, just never had it in a position where he needed it to. And that's what we were talking about. Tyre temperatures are going to be so important here today. Storm Molina's off the road now through the final couple of corners, and she'll drop a place then as they go through. That's Alex Gillen who will move on by and pick that one up then as a freebie. But this is what the field is starting to do. It's starting to form their own little packs out there at the moment. A car here, a car there, and lest we forget that Resker Kyoso is the leader of all of those who have pitted in this race. We'll be looking around with Grand Poubert next for an overtake as we go take a look on board with Hayden Gullis through the Tetra Rouge chicane here in the Pays de la Loire region. Fastest lap by Resker Kyoso, 3:13.4, working into Tetra Rouge corner and onto the Mulsanne again.
Yeah, you can see just via the steering inputs how nervous the car is after so many laps on these softer compound tyres. It's just skedaddling all over the place, and when you're trying to put the power down, especially on the banked turns, you can have the impression you've got a lot of grip, and then it just disappears out of nowhere. So he did very, very well to negotiate that through Tetra Rouge, and he's got a run. Now, can he get the run done in that sixth gear? This is for the lead. This is Ryan and Lamp. Nick Pakin's had an issue on the straightaway. What's happening there? Fuel?
I think he's had a slow down, and so that's really hurt Nick because he's now behind Greedy Me and Matt 212. But for the lead, Lamp will go to the outside. Ryan L83 will look to try and fend this off, but again, it's super aggressive from Lamp. Onto the brakes, trying to get it sorted, and that's some wonderful work as Greedy Me now has third place. Now, I do know that the way that Lamp and Brendan Hyperstar are very good friends, they actually sat down in a bar at Chicago when it was a case of the Sim Racing Expo in America was in play, and they started using the condiments there and the mustard to try and work out, this is how you could have beat me in the iRacing or in the Creator Series Indy 500.
Strategy using biscuits and other assortments in a restaurant. I do appreciate that. That's a great way of explaining strategy, I guess. Oh, the tag right there, and that's Matt 212 rounding into the barrier. That's so unfortunate. The contact, I think that was with Nick Pakin there. So just nothing he could do really into Indianapolis. I think that was just a case of missed or not predicting the other person's line. I mean, Nick goes in deep and it's just a tag. Yeah, so I think Matt was expecting to be a little bit harder on the brakes, but they both broke at the same time, and that means they were fighting over the same bit of tarmac, sadly.
I wonder if he got aero loose.
It's possible,
I do wonder whether he just got aero loose, that he had to turn, it wasn't there, and so the car just gets loose. And when you unwind a car like this, which needs all that downforce to keep it planted down, it's so easy for the car to just snap and be unpredictable while it's off throttle.
Yeah, I think you're quite correct in that, actually. With the banking, the bumpiness into Indianapolis, oh, that's a huge one. That's Alex Gillen. Yeah, the livery at least is serving its purpose in us being able to recognise it. That has been a hefty collision through there. Not exactly sure who that was. Oh no. So a lap down, I guess.
Yeah, lap down as Lamp and Ryan L83 both come down to the pit.
Oh no.
Caught the curb wrong at the Porsche curves, bang! Alex Gillen's got nowhere to go in that section. That's the part that makes it feel like a street circuit.
Yeah, it's flat out through there, so you keep it pinned, and Brendan Hyperstar avoiding that very skillfully as well. So let's see, Moonhead just taking the wrong line and getting on the grass, oh yeah, and then put on the brakes, and there's no, I mean, Moonhead didn't really do anything too wrong. I mean, once you get it loose, you're just trying to save the car, but Alex just in the wrong place at the wrong time. This is giving me Fernando Alonso Baku vibes right now. This is skillful driving right there to get it back to the pits.
If he wins from here, I swear, this is going to be one of those moments. Nick Pakin has stayed out and is your leader at this point in time, with Greedy Me also having pitted. You got Scotty Designs out there and racing, by the way, out there, which is a shock to me, and doing a good job of things right now in third. But it shows you with the fuel tank that they're running today, it's not 100%. They've only got this limited to a 70% fuel tank, so they're going to have to make pit stops.
Yeah, and it was a question mark whether they could do 5 laps or 4 laps. So a lot of people going for the 4-lap strategy, Nick Pakin doing the 5-lap strategy. So maybe he's dropped off the pace to save the fuel. It's a viable strategy, especially if you're just looking to give yourself a little bit of an advantage later on in the race. But yeah, he's out there with no slipstream. You know, it's a difficult choice, really, of whether you want to be mid-pack, because this has a lot of aspects of, an oval race, really, where you want to be in the tow, you want to be saving fuel, you want to not be too aggressive on your tyres. So there is a legitimate argument where you want to be mid-pack, actually, just fighting with everybody else. But for the moment, he's got clean air, he's just going for it, and, it's a viable strategy, in my opinion.
it is viable. And so the longer that you go, what you're trying to do is reverse engineer it back in the pit stops towards the end of the race. Lamp has gone out and done very well, is ahead of Ryan L83 and doing a very good job. And so now you're starting to think about where people are in terms of this race. And surprisingly, I'd say at the moment, third net at the moment in this race is Reska Kyoso.
Yeah, I mean, that early pit stop has definitely worked out. The change onto the harder compound tyre is really having a good effect. I mean, we're seeing the lap times being about a second's difference per lap between the two compounds, especially those that have not pitted on the softer compound tyre. I mean, their pace is just falling off a cliff right now. So it's kind of one of those things where we've got the bizarre thing of over about 3 or 4 laps, the harder compound is much faster, and then both tyres set to overheat as that is content getting it hugely sideways out of Arnage. He'll be under attack from Razin, definitely into the Porsche curves, although I think Razin's decided he'll stick behind for a moment, and an unsafety car has been called for debris on track, we are being told. All of those Alex Gillen part.
I think it's for Scotty. He went off the road and had Lamp and Ryan L83 in front, and basically found himself with no pace at all and very nearly caused a massive accident. So it would have been for a slow car on circuit. You can see he's just trying to clutch his way home by the looks of it, and then look, scares himself out of the way. He's stuck at 65 kilometers an hour. I'm not sure Scotty was going to be able to get that one home on his own power, and he couldn't.
Yeah, that's rough, just miscalculating a little bit, and that is sadly what happens. It's so easy. I mean, it's a long lap, so you start the lap with you know, a lot of fuel, for example, and you know, you think, oh, I can easily do another lap. Same thing for tires. If the tires feel okay, you think, oh, I can easily do another lap, and then over 3 minutes a lot can change, and yeah, that is very unfortunate. But it does mean that everybody that hasn't pitted has a chance to get a, not a free pit stop, but a severely discounted pit stop, let's call it, and that might throw a spanner in the works in terms of strategy, that's for sure.
It's not a buy a pit stop, get one free, John. It's buy a pit stop, get one half price.
That's for sure. And in a race and this distance and of this complexity, that makes a huge difference. But, I mean, there is a case to be made for everybody pitting, to be fair. If you've already done 2 or 3 laps where you're halfway through a race stint, you may as well come into the pits as well. So it'll be an interesting scenario to see. You'd see everybody that did an early pit stop from damage or just having to pull into the pits, like emphatic encephalosis, they are boxing as well, just to get more opportunities into this race, let's say.
Yep, so they will have a chance then to reset their cycle. So there'll be those who are going for track position, like Nick Pakin, Brendan Hyperstar, Conton Dal Olmo. Drivers like Ryan L83 and Lamp come in and pit. They drop 5 or 6 places with the cheaper pit stop. And so as they now find themselves back on circuit behind the unsafety car, I would say now at this moment of the race, 1/4 of the way through at the end of this lap, they're going to have a lot of work to do to move back through, and that's where you might start seeing calamity start to befall. And I do love it. It's a beautiful Ford Mustang unsafety car. Yeah,
that is just the rumbling of the V8 down the straight is a noise to be heard through the forest as well, the reverberation of the trees. Haha, lovely stuff. I mean, it reminds you of the Garage 56, doesn't it, with the NASCAR engine, racing quite a few, maybe, was it 2 years ago now at this point? You know, you just love hearing the old school engines, and, you know, obviously IndyCar makes a huge noise as well, so I'm sure spectators both on our channels and indeed at the racing circuit will be loving and lapping it up, as they say, as they go past.
That they certainly will, so we will keep an eye out on those who look to try and say, look, we can start charging forward, we can start making progress. You always buy a ticket in these races to the end. Now, I am looking around and I am seeing that Moonhead, for example, is out there on circuit, buried still in the barriers, and may have just gotten up from the car and walked away from it because he has got that thing planted in the barriers right now. And we'll be looking around going, you know what, this would be the sort of time I would gain 2 laps back as a driver doing these races, but at the moment, very stuck.
Also trying to figure out where that is exactly on track. Is that the Porsche curves?
It's very Porsche-y to me.
Yeah, it certainly does to me as well. There's I mean, there's obviously some sort of technical issue there, that's for sure. Maybe they're just trying to fix it, which is understandable while the unsafety car is going around. I'm just looking here at the various strategies. There's one driver in particular that might have a little bit of an advantage going into this, and it is Ryan L83, because he's got one car between him and Lamp. You've got Hayden Gullis in between, as you can see on our leaderboards there, you can see on screen. And they are on a different strategy. They've pitted twice, so they have fresh tyres, they have more fuel in the car. So there is a world where Ryan can get a bit of a move on. Or
sorry, hold on, because this is an IndyCar thing where they have random places to start races. Think about Mid-Ohio, they start at around turn 3 as the unsafety car peels off, and so when that goes away, control of the pace is going to be with Nick Pakin, and they're back to running. Oh, he's been leapfrogged. Oh, brilliant. Brendan Hyperstar caught him napping.
Oh, whoa, you need to read the rule book for that one, and Brendan Hyperstar definitely has. He's got the Storm going right now, and I think Contan will be trying to profit from that, because Nick, probably through the Porsche curves now, will be thinking, how did I let that happen? And the distraction can happen. Look, he's offline. Contan has the definite advantage in terms of racing line and confidence, but can he get a move done? It's so difficult around these corners. You probably get the wash of the slipstream. Everybody's made it through the Porsche curves okay as far as I can see, so we are green flag racing once again.
Yeah, and critically, Hayden Gullis has made the pass on Ryan L83, so that puts him now back in a position. And look at Lamp, he's going to come straight down into the pits then. So Lamp making the call to go and get that sorted and get off of the red sticker tyres to go back onto the primary. So that will certainly work out in play to say, look, I've got my tyre change out of the way. We'll work on something else a little bit later. Conton Dal Olmo in P3. Now at the moment on to lap 7 and looking to hunt Nick Pakin down, and Brendan Hyperstar, who leads this field right now here in the French countryside.
That's a huge risk as wow, what a battle through the S's. That could have gone so wrong for all of those cars there. The train of Storm Molina, that was Ryan L83 and Hayden Gullis battling, if I am correct. Reska Kyoso trying to get the overtake done as well. So there's just so much going on in this race, and I think for Lamp, this is a questionable decision really, in my opinion, because sure, he'll have the better tyres on now, but the pace was kind of equalising after 2 laps, so not using that stint, basically putting yourself a stint behind, doesn't make sense to me, but there you go. He's got a strategy, he's going with it.
Yeah, and a slowdown for Nick Pakin has really hurt, because Razin Chai is through. Conton Dal Olmo are on board with, looking to try and take the race lead away from Brendan Hyperstar. Reska Kyoso now up to 6th. Hayden Gullis jumps up now to 7th, and now the moves being made here, all up and down the timing tower. You have to go back to 3rd because it is getting busy as the race lead is there and in play. Razin Chai watches as the pass is made by Conton Dal Olmo, but they're 2 wide, 3 deep, heading over to Mulsanne corner, and for the moment it's Reska Kyoso in that group behind, who looks like they've come out on top, with Storm Molina just behind Ryan L83, and then Hayden Gullis, Nick Pakin, Lithium Fox, Greedy Me, Super Noodle Bagel, and Josh's Corner all there.
Look at all the people using their overtake. You can see the acceleration sort of bar, loading bar that I'll call it by their name, and that means they are pushing that boost button. I mean, look in the background. I think that's Hayden Gullis just having a go. Oh, contact with Reska Kyoso, and I think that was Ryan. Just a tap, a little bit like Matt 212, and that has had devastating consequences. They're in the barrier, and that is probably going to be a tow back to pits.
Oh, and as you say that, there's another little bit of drama that brings itself in. That's Super Noodle Bagel and Lithium Fox coming together into Arnage corner. Very tough to deal with. Josh's corner as well, a little bit slow after a spin. So as we expect, going to get very chipper, going to get very difficult out there this racing. And now, as they work themselves into the Porsche curve, the one place you don't want to be is on the outside, and contact as Matt 212 gets the wrong type of training, bang into the safer barrier.
Yeah, that was... Oh, and off goes Punju, I think that was as well, into the barrier. So, God, everything happening, just wheel tapping. That's all it is. All you need is a little bit of unsettling, as you just said, and away you go. I think that was very unfortunate for Matt, just finding himself on the outside. On the Porsche curves, that's just not the place you want to be, but he had to go for it, really, and Punju just coming into contact, sadly. So, I mean, they have the pace to get back up to it, but it's just a case of can they get it back to pits.
Yeah, so Ancephalosis as well slow, and this is a case of who can rather than who can't. Greedy Me's had a moment as well. So a lot to unpack here on this lap, and so there's the tap, there's the spin, bang, that's a hard hit into the wall, and the wall did not budge an inch.
Yeah, I'm sure that they were just going to let go of their steering wheel, just saying, I'm not fighting this one. In the background, that was... What's that spinning around
Josh's
in the
corner.
background? Josh's corner, yeah. And I think this is another case of just going for the same bit of tarmac from Super Noodle Bagel and Lithium Fox. Just, you know, trying to give each other room and then just to lock up. And that was, I think, literally just Punju just missing the apex. And then, you know, yeah, they tried to just follow it round and there was nowhere to go. And then Punju lost it as well, possibly with some more understeer later on through, I think that's karting, isn't it?
Yeah, so you can see has the tap, and then
Oh, no, there was a
Sparks
tap.
takes the hit as well. And then Sparks, who has the rear wing damage, has nothing but that hit to go and navigate through. So at least for the moment, they change for second as Rasenchai goes through. Now Olmo looking for a little bit more horsepower then, using the overtake button. And so now here comes a case of who can manage their way through the dramas that have been going on. Rasenchai is the sort of character, John, who doesn't go out there and I don't think has latent pace to go and be the quickest. But when he starts to close, he is a very patient driver. Look at that VR from Brendan.
Yeah, that must be awesome driving. You know, you've got the, obviously you've got the sort of like halo on the front, but you've got the open cockpit really, and you can take in all of the atmosphere. And for racing as well, it must be really, you know, ideal to just look to your left, look to your right to see exactly where you are, to manage your pace in the pack. And I must say, definitely Rasen's working his way into a good position here, and it's a very patient driver, very calculating, consistent, and so they're putting themselves in prime position, probably saving fuel at this point. This contact is just leading this train. I must say the front three are on a storm bus. Whoa! Rasen nearly into the barrier there on the outside of Arnache. I was persuaded, and that's a slowdown penalty, I think, for doing that, as he's put himself offline, and this will be an overtake with Brendan Hyperstar having the inside for the Porsche curves.
Oh yeah, he's going to back out of it, and that's why it's all about race preservation here. Lap 8 of 24, so that one needing to be done to keep themselves together. So Rasenchai, they are really having to fight. And now another bit of side-by-side as Alex Gillen and Infratic now work together, and they've had many a battle like this, and they haven't had too many issues between each other, but Fabio wants to chase down Mr. Gillen.
Okay, place your bets, people. Which one is ending up in the barrier? My guess is both at some point. They are known to race each
Alex
other
already has.
quite well. Okay, wow, that's a way to do him dirty, I guess. Yeah, sure, we'll go with that. But hopefully they won't be in the barrier again. But yeah, it looks like Alex just has a little bit more pace, but will it matter? Because the slipstream's so powerful here that Infratic can just cruise up to the back again and just say, hey, I'm back here once again. But for these two, they're kind of in the no man's land where they can't catch Storm Melina because they're just a little bit too far back, and they need something to happen in front. Thankfully, though, they are on the harder compound tire, so they can go long in this stint. They can use that pace, and it is certainly looking like everybody, apart from Ryan and Nick Pagan, are apparently still on the softer compound tire. That's an interesting one.
Now, the interesting thing is that Conton Dal Olmo has just left the pits after that stop and is still ahead of Lamps. So Lamps got a lot to deal with out there, as Grand Poubert is up in 11th position. Out there is a wonderful sim racer out there who came from the speedrunning community, John. So when you come from speedrunning, you look to try and do games as quickly as you possibly can. You now turn that around and say, can you drive as quickly as you possibly can? Grand Poubert looking to jump up from 60, +4 for the day. Well, actually +5 for the day so far.
I do not recommend straight lining the Ford chicane, for example. The speed run strategy, but it won't work out in your favor. Yeah, that's true, yes. Saves a few pixels when you have to reset to pits, though, when you're in the barrier. So it can work out, but maybe a risky strategy. But it can help in terms of risk assessment. You know, when you've got such a high pressure environment, such as speed running, you learn to just automate certain tasks, and that is a key advantage to just free up mental capacity to either race each other cleaner or just pick the right lines. As Ryan dipping into the gravel, this might gain Hayden Gullis an opportunity here. He's very close.
He's never been so high up. It's very lofty being up here in third place, where Hayden looks to take this place back with the likes of Ryan L83, who goes through. What we note from a Hayden Gullis race, it's traditionally 15th for about 15 of the 24 laps, and magically at the end he finishes 6th.
He's so aggressive over the curbs. I mean, I don't want to call it, but surely at some point he's going to trip himself up. I mean, look at it. He is absolutely flat out. And I've got to say, amazing driving right now, but you've got 24 laps of this. You have to kind of keep something in the tank, maybe 1 or 2%, because at the end of the day, you've got to make it to the end of the race. But Hayden definitely has the pace at the moment. Ryan, I think, just maybe conserving fuel or conserving tyres at this stage in the race. He knows that to close that 3.7 second gap to Brendan Hyperstar, you're going to have to go really, really fast and aggressive, and perhaps not worth it with the strategy offset at the moment.
There is Brendan Hyperstar trying to stay with Razin Chai, who dives into the pits then on lap 9's end. You've got to be careful with the pit lane here, because if you overcook it going in,
Brendan,
you'll get an unsafe pit entry. That's a mistake from Brendan as he overdoes it on the rear quarter. Gullis in, Ryan Littlemore in, and so too Alex Gillen. So welcome to the pit stop cycle of all those who decided that they weren't going to pit under the unsafety car.
Yeah, this will be interesting to see what happens to Lamp and Quentin Delolmo. Will they come out will they still be in front? Will they be behind? Will that strategy have worked out? There's a lot of questions happening. A lot of people in the pit lane can be very distracting as well. So this is crunch time, really, as we see Razin already leaving the pit. So all of these drivers will see that, and they will think, oh, I'm a pit stop behind here. What can I do to, can have a real mental game effect leaving the pits, Ryan and Hayden still side by side. Nothing to choose between them, but crucially, it is Ryan out ahead.
And so you're looking around and you're saying, look, Ryan Littlemore's been able to just be a little bit behind, but Razin Chai ahead. Quentin Delolmo will be looking around and saying, what will I have to do to go and make something happen out here, as he runs a little bit wide, and that will bring Lamp now into position to try and go and get the run on the straights. Lithium Fox at the moment, so you can see there, Little Wing trying to work through the straight. You're going to have a lot of looks here, there and everywhere on a straight like this, because it is so fast. You can see the tree line blurring a little bit as you go by. There's a lot to do. I do want to point out the last winner out there of a Le Mans race that has come from front was in 2016 by Romain Dumas, I believe it was then. So that certainly puts a lot of perspective in. It's nearly been a decade since a French driver has won at Le Mans. So Quentin Delolmo will have a lot of that on his shoulders here in IndyCar.
It's actually a funny thing that you mention that, because I was actually just looking through a lot of the French drivers had sort of a glory days period between the 70s and the 90s, and it kind of tapered off after that as they went into stuff like Formula One, with people obviously, as you know, Alain Prost and a load of other people that I could mention, but also into the world of rally. And endurance racing has definitely sort of tapered off for the French, even though they've got the most iconic endurance racing circuit of the world. It's kind of a paradox, isn't it? They're there for the show and the food and the drinks, that's for sure.
Battle of the multicoloured liveries then, as Grand Pooh Bear and Super Noodle Bagel will try and figure out, can they go and get this pass done? It's Super Noodle Bagel on the left, which is your right of screen, and able to hold off Grand Poubez advances, going through the right-hander at the Mulsanne corner, and now heading over as they go by the golf course day 20 for Ua Dumont on the right-hand side. They will now make the head back for home as they focus on a little bit of grass pickup for Ryan L83, as Lamp now has the clearance required to move on through. So Lamp now realising that Ryan is right on the heels.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's a daunting prospect for everybody in front. And I must say, Lamp is just out of position in terms of strategy. The tyres, you can definitely see it through the Porsche curves here into karting, especially round the outside. Will Ryan try? No, Lamp goes in deep, just trying to protect the apex a little bit there. And that strategy hasn't really worked out for Lamp. I mean, Contan's got, wow, okay, the overtake button or something happening right there, because Ryan has made an overtake in the most improbable place on the track, I think.
Well, you don't often see him like that, and Ryan just taking a wonderful line through, using that overspeed, cutting to the inside, out of the S's and gaining the place. Out comes Brendan Hyperstar, out of the frying pan, into the fire, gets the tower buzzed, going into the first chicane. Ryan locks it up behind Canton Dal Olmo, and so work to be done by Brendan Hyperstar and Lamp. It is 5 at the front. They're all trying to chase Racing Chai.
I mean, Contan has been the biggest winner of the lot here. He's in P2 out of nowhere, you know, after just taking a different strategy to everybody else. He's only got 1 extra lap on the tyres, so he's in a really good place right now. And these come from basically not the back of the grid, but at least the midfield of the grid. So I noticed his pace on the opening stint on the softer compound tyres was really, really strong. And I wasn't expecting his pace on the harder compound to be this strong, but he's definitely in contention here. If he can save a bit of fuel, maybe go that 1 lap extra on these set of tyres to put him back in a shot of having the same stint as everybody else, as Ryan will look to get the overspeed, trying to catch Razin. You want to be in that slipstream, and for Brendan behind, there's a bit of a gap now, and that's worrying. They need to get a move on. 1.8 seconds, the gap is side by side. You see that draft happening, and as soon as Ryan pulled out, he lost all of the speed over Contan. Contan is already on the back of the rear diffuser of Ryan, and they will go that way through Naudière into the Mulsanne corner in just a second. But you know, at the front of this pack, they've got their strategy sorted out now. They know what they're doing. It's all about pace and consistency at this point.
Yeah, so Ryan L83 through on Canton Dal Olmo, going, you're not going to chase me down? You're not going to come back, have a bite at me, try and help to catch Racing Chai in this one? Here's a look at Lamp at this moment in time. Very calm, I'd say, at the moment. A little look at Lamp. This is a case of, okay, I've got the focus there set, and it's very much a case of a pressure cooker situation in 5th, and your main rival in this race is a little bit down the road. You're going to have to work here with your good friend Brendan Hyperstar to get this one sorted, unless they have a strategy in the bank that is going to get them to exactly where they want to. Halfway will be score complete at the end of the next lap.
Yeah, it's just a tantalising race, and that has so much more to deliver. As you can see, Lamp just getting a little bit, well, not confident with the curbs. I think maybe the tyres just going off a little bit, and look at the just car lengths that he's given up,
Hayden.
and indeed position. Hello, Hayden. He came out of nowhere, just got a run, and I think just Lamp deciding that, well, the tyres are gone. He's probably might be pitting this lap, actually, looking at the race stint. He's 4 laps into the stint. It's either this lap or next lap, if you're lucky, on the fuel, so we'll have to wait and see. Just want to say, I have seen a 322 kilometers per hour pop up for Storm Melina on the Mulsanne straight. That is precisely 100 kilometers per hour less than the Peugeot that set the unofficial top speed down the Mulsanne without the chicanes. So that downforce having a huge effect, but they're still hurtling down, and we do see Lamp come into the pits at the end of this lap.
Yep, so Lamp now needing to make this stop and set this up. Fastest lap of the race by Ryan L83, a 3:11.7 then was set on that go around. They fall 1.3 seconds quicker than Racing Chai on that attempt. Canton Dal Olmo on a 13.3, 13 flat there from Racing Chai, enough to hold. Through the Tetra Rouge chicane, your leaders go, and now to Tetra Rouge corner here. Fast right-hander, you can't go too wide or a slowdown penalty will jump into play. Josh's Corner and Grand Pooh Bear having a bit of a ding-dong battle as into the pits comes Grand Pooh Bear.
Yeah, there are only 2 cars at the moment that are in the 3:11s in terms of lap times, and that is Ryan and that is Contant Dalolmo as well. So those 2 are lapping insane lap times at the moment, just everybody else in the 12s or 13s. And Razin has been caught a 3-minute 12 last time out, and that is not enough to keep Ryan at bay. We'll have a change for the lead using that 6th gear, and you can see there Ryan changing down to 5th immediately to keep the revs up as he pops out of the slipstream. You see that a lot on oval tracks, you're seeing it today. That is the type of strategy and type of knowledge that you need to know to win a race with such a long straight.
And supposedly you'll see that as well with the 2026 Formula One cars out there with their issues of derating batteries and the like. So you're seeing here from Rasin Chai, Keita can't get through, but I think part of that hold there from Ryan L83, he realises not only do I have to get the speed, not only do I have to get the slipstream, not only do I have to get through as Infratic passes Alex Gillen for position, but you also have to use a push to pass out there, John, just to keep the pace up to get the clearance.
Yeah, for sure. You can't get stuck alongside. You need to just go for it. And, you know, we may reach the end of the race where some people don't have a push to pass left at all. As I just want to point out, we did see Brendan Hyperstar have a huge lock-up into Mulsanne there. He made the corner, but that was quite spectacular in the background. So they're all pushing flat out. Just Brendan trying to close the gap. He's got Hayden Gullis right on the rear end as well. So it's all pressure as they go through Indianapolis and now into Arnage. This is where Punju lit it up over the curve. Hayden just having to tread carefully there. He knew he was going wide and he's lost another car length. So it's a case of, again, the tyres are overheating, so you've just got to play really carefully with that. And I think the drivers are figuring that out now. As, again, side-by-sides everywhere with Lamp now trying to gain some positions back. I think that's on Josh's corner.
Yeah, we can confirm that Nick Pakin is out here in terms of this race, struggling about with what he needs to do here today. So ultimately I think that came down to contact with Lithium Fox, which causes the retirement there in that regard. So at least for this moment in time, they're now starting to form their own packs in Fratic and Alex Gillen with Lithium Fox there in the background. This one closing in to be a 3-car scrap as in comes Conton Dal Olmo.
Yeah, in the pits, he had to really. It's a short stint, actually. He's only done 3 laps on that stint. What has gone on for Contant? That is not a good stint whatsoever. I think what has happened, he's probably tried turning the fuel mix up. And this was a discussion between the drivers that you don't gain that much pace, maybe 1 or 2 seconds. That would explain the quick lap times from Contant. But you sacrifice a lap in terms of fuel. That 3-lap stint might be an indication of that. And that puts him another lap down. So basically putting him on par with Lamp at this point, in that they're 2 laps behind everybody else in terms of fuel and tyres.
But that's not the end of the world. If an unsafety car were to come out and neutralise the field again, they'd have an opportunity to either move their strategy point or bring themselves in. So when you've got such short pit windows here, 4 or 5 laps out there over the course of this one, John, you start thinking about, oh, okay, you're not really moving the bar too much with these unsafety cars when you've got a wide window, for example, of 30 laps to 40 laps at conventional circuits. You don't really think about that too much. It's a case of are you on or are you not? Here, it's can I pivot?
Yeah, you just roll the dice. I agree with you completely. At this point in the race, if you get to maybe 6 or 7 laps, then it becomes a bit more crucial. But right now, with 11 laps to go, give or take, where you are on track, you know, it's kind of just a game of chance at this point. But having that extra lap gives you the strategic availability. See, if a safety car comes out and you've got 1 lap of fuel left versus 0 laps of fuel, you can decide for or against. So it's always worth having that extra lap in the tank. And yeah, Alex Gillen just defending valiantly from Infratic. But these two have been locked together since their boxing of the stint. And we've got Lithium Fox behind as well, just wanting to get in on the action after their earlier contact.
Well, Infratic lifted out there. I thought he was a little bit coy in terms of making that move. And Alex Gillen will note that and say, if you're going to be that coy with me, you're not going to win this game of Go Fish.
That can only end greatly in terms of the past history of those two. I'm sure nobody will go overboard in that one, as Hayden Gullis still glued to the back of Brendan Hyperstar. And Brendan locks up, and Hayden follows him basically into that deep line. So nobody profiteering from that. Alex Gillen going a bit wide as well. That may give Infratic the little bit of inkling that he can get past. He did use a brief second of overtake boost. But yeah, nothing happening right there in the background. Hayden still not being able to find a way past. And there is some sort of way of saying that maybe you want to be the car in front through the Porsche curves, because all of this dirty air that Hayden is going through must be overheating the tyres. You can see him taking a different line to try and get some clean air. But you can see
watch out, Ryan! Watch out, Ryan! In the pits, Chesnoy Gaming was off in front of him, and now look at how they stack up, 1, 2, and 3. That could have been disastrous. Chesnoy's got a penalty for an unsafe pit entry.
Ooh, we're going to have a replay with that one, but that was spicy as both of them in the pits as well. So nobody has damage there. Let's see if we can have a look what happened there. So that has already happened. So Chesnoid, I think, has just locked up and gone over the grass, I guess. And with the leaders pitting, that is not what you want to do. So, Chesnoid was going slow, so possibly out of fuel or something. And the leaders have come into the pits, and yeah, Chesnoid has lost it on the entry. That's a bizarre incident right there.
Yeah, it is. So that is going to be a tough one when you lose it through. A lot of pressure puts on as you try and slow it down, and it does create dramas. Rasin Chai has caught back to Ryan L83 then on that pit stop and is tucked up directly underneath. But Hayden, for the moment, I would say right now, for Hayden Gullis, John, you take a screenshot of this, you frame it up in your house, you are leading a Racing Creator Series.
Always, especially at Le Mans. I mean, you want that one right just in the center of your streaming setup. And it's over. And now Alex takes the screenshot instead, especially with Hayden and Infratic close behind as well. That's a screenshot and a half for him. But Brendan Hyperstar wants to take it away. And I think what we're seeing with these pit stops, by the way, is drivers running out of fuel through the Porsche curves. They've tried to go on that extra lap. And about 4.6 laps is the calculation with the fuel. They're just overtaking left, right, and centre. Lithium Fox come out of nowhere, and they're going for the lead. They have taken the lead.
Just go put it into overdrive, full boost. Lithium Fox from 5th to 1st. My, oh my, now we're starting to see these games put into play. Brendan Hyperstar lifting out of it early, trying to play the long game. Alex Gillen in 2nd. You got Infratic there in 4th. What a group that we've got there. Lithium Fox, your leader, now heading over to Indianapolis.
I mean, this is just peak racing right now with the games that are being played, after you, sir, no after you. And definitely a lot happening here. Comes Alex Gillen just to demonstrate my point alongside. Why don't we go too wide into Indianapolis? What can possibly go wrong? They are definitely going for it, aren't they? Lithium Fox on the inside. Alex Gillen backs out of it. Quite sensible. So many incidents have happened. And it looked like Brendan Hyperstar had to run around the outside, but nowhere to go really on the banking turn. Through Arnage, will anybody lock a break in here? No, it looks like everybody is fine. Lithium Fox so close to the barrier, though, that could have ended in disaster. The barrier kind of closes up on you, so you have to get your car back over the curb and onto the track. Alex has got a run here. Will he go for it? It looks like it's very close, but he's going to back off of it and just stay behind through the Porsche curves. You just don't want to go side by side through here. And look at the understeer. Look at that draft. Alex is going to get so close to the wall. He was taking risks through there. I think he wants to be close to try and maybe do an overtake into the Ford chicane. It's not going to happen, but Alex is doing everything he can right now to just put Lithium Fox under pressure.
Yep, so the pressure is there, and into the pits come the top two. So Lithium Fox, followed in by Alex Gillen, followed in by Hayden Gullis. I've heard that Nick Pakin is going to be back out and racing again, has fixed the issues that have been plaguing him. So another chance then late on to make this happen. Infratic and Brendan Hyperstar out there at the moment. Lap 15 of 24, Greedy Me into the pits as well. And I do want to note that Lamp and Canton Dall'Olmo are nowhere in comparison to Ryan L83 and Rasin Chai.
Yeah, this is a very bizarre scenario. I think they must be saving fuel or something. I can't see what the pace loss has been. Let me have a look at the lap times. I mean, Yeah, Contan's lap times are just nowhere compared to Ryan's lap times. I mean, they're lapping in the 3:12s, but we know that Ryan can consistently do 3:11s, and so the time has just ebbed away. And I guess Lamp is in the same scenario here. They just don't have an answer for it at the moment.
No, they don't. So, at least at this point, it is now starting to look like a very tough ordeal at this moment where everyone goes through. Stormalina still currently in pit lane 2, and so looking to try and navigate on this. Infratic in second with Brendan Hyperstar out there at the front. These two trying to work together to get their strategy in play. They're going to be hoping that it stays yellow the entire way from now to the end, because it will pay off in terms of their strategy. If they do run into an unsafety car at any point, though, they're going to have to jump very quickly. And Fabio really working to stay there with Brendan and pulling himself in to this run. Here comes Mulsanne corner, early lift then into the section. And so as they work, yeah, that's a bit deep, but Fabio really having to work there through the middle. So Infratic doing what he can.
Yeah, I think Infratic was a little bit too cautious, since they're probably saving fuel. It's worth noting they're on lap 4 of their stint, so one of them, maybe both of them, will be in the pits if they're not doing any lifting and coasting. One of them might be running a Ferrari livery, so that might hint at that strategy. So it'll be interesting to see whether both of them come into the pits. Strategy would say is Ryan's using overtake as well, just to try and close the gap. He's got Razin still within 1 second though, so Ryan's still challenged for the, I'd say, provisional lead once everybody's made the pit stops. Infratic locks up, double lock up on the front tires, and that sends him nearly into the barrier. Unsafety car being called for, I think, spectators on track, did I hear?
It might be something like that. There's a bit of orange paint that's sort of gone around somewhere around the first chicane. So some marshals have gone out and held itself together. So it will mean now a cheap pit stop for Brendan Hyperstar and Infratic. That's almost perfect timing.
Yeah, I think it was the case of all drivers need to change to the rose-coloured spectacles on their helmets. That's the safety car, and that's the reason we've called it, to go into the vibe of the classic Le Mans. But that means that for Brendan Hyperstar and Infratic, they get a free pit stop, and Ryan will probably retake the lead, although I think looking at the laps, he's done 1 lap, so he might stay out. But if I were Ryan, to be honest, I'd pull it into the pit. Oh, what's happened there? Infratic,
Fabio's overcooked it going into the pit. Oh my goodness, that is... Are you paying attention as you go in? I think Brendan's trying to just make sure he hits the line, and Fabio just full on gets it wrong. Rasin Chai will come in, so here's the brakes. Oh, I think he just locked it up.
Yeah, it's not even close to making the line. That's just like maybe 20 kilometers per hour too fast. And as you said, yeah, he locked it up, and yeah, what a bizarre one. Once again, we've seen it so many times in Le Mans, especially, I would not say at Le Mans, I'd say at Petit Le Mans, where they're just downhill braking, but this isn't downhill braking, so a really, really difficult one there to explain.
Ryan L83, oh, it's close. Alex Gillen nearly got the jump out there,
and so
as they go through, we're calling it a virtual safety car out there here at the moment, because apparently the unsafety car is dead.
Yeah, so I wasn't going to mention this, but on the first safety car restart, it might happen that the safety car did not make it back to the pit lane for reasons which I shall not explain. Maybe
TK's a bad driver. I'm going to call him out.
Well, there you go. I didn't say anything. I just want to make that clear. But yes, indeed, the unsafety car having a few issues. I can see them frantically trying to go through the gears, but something's not happening. AK, the wheels are not turning, so that would indicate a problem.
It very much would do out there, and so there is not much that you can be done about it, but 3 pit stops to come in, and so the field now cycles as follows. It is Brendan Hyperstar in control, the winner of the Creator Series Indy 500. Infratic is second, and Alex Gillen is third. It's then Ryan L83 and Rasin Chai. Lamp is sixth, Conton Dal Olmo seventh. Lap will be getting for Chesnoy to get back onto the leading lap, and Super Noodle Bagel will now find himself in 8th, with Lithium Fox and Hayden Gullis making the top 10.
So, yeah, on. I think we're just trying to see a replay of some sort of incident going on, but yeah, there's something happening behind the virtual safety car there. We'll try and get. Oh, look at
It's
this!
going.
We have an unsafety car on track.
We do, and so it's a case of can you redeem yourself and get up there? The 999 unsafety car looking to make as much progress as it can as it works through doing a it's alive! It is alive as it works itself through Tetra. Oh, but it's run a little bit wide here, so there's going to be an issue here. Johnny's going to have to serve the slowdown penalty.
Yeah, so, and they are serving the slowdown penalty. The safety car has been given a penalty. I don't think I've ever seen that in motorsports, in any branch of racing whatsoever. But the main question is, can the unsafety car make it safely through Arnage this time? They got a bit of the lap to go, but this is peak entertainment from TK in the unsafety car.
Now, the next bit will be if that unsafety car catches the line, doesn't know where it is, doesn't know which side it is, and just starts ploughing through IndyCar after IndyCar after IndyCar.
No, I can't see that happening whatsoever. No, definitely not. I mean, I've got my popcorn out waiting for that to happen, but no, definitely not a probability, right, Jake?
No, it's going to be a long time. He's doing 280 kilometers an hour, so great work, 280 clicks in that Mustang going there. The back of the pack's doing 130. I would not want to see that be caught at Mulsanne Corner, and it is looking like it's going to be caught at Mulsanne Corner, so you're going to have to get on the binders here to make sure that there is no drama as you head down into this section. No. Train's caught, and slowed down. Now, the unsafety car's got to try and work away to the front of this group subtly, and I say subtly because you've got to really try and work on through, but it's just a good enough run through what is, I would say, a beach party down at the Mulsanne corner there, and that's just a roundabout there that they've got there, that beach party sorted. This is Bash at the Beach vibes.
Yeah, it certainly is. I was about to say, subtlety, a Ford Mustang. No, I don't think that's in its vocabulary, to be fair, as TK has made his way, so the unsafety car has made its way to the front of the pack.
Hang on, John.
Will be now.
I'll tell you what would be subtlety. Subtlety would be the Ford versus Ferrari battle that the unsafety car would have finished ahead of Infratic.
Oh, now we're going controversial on that one. I like it. Very good thought right there. I'm not sure if that would be very popular.
Oh,
no! Don't tell me it's happened again. It's happened again.
Oh, no, it's again. The unsafety car's gone around. Very nearly tagged Infratic, by the way, in second in the line, but ultimately just about kept it out of trouble and just about saved that one from any blushes. And this is what happens out there when you put drivers in there. It's the General Motors moment all over again. You can see going through Indianapolis corner, understeer, then oversteer, and it's very much a case of hold on to your hats.
Oh, yeah, just the car, just unsettled. The downforce isn't there, and that was a little bit ambitious into there. So let's just have a recap, shall we? So the unsafety car has got a track limits penalty and a slowdown penalty, has nearly taken out everybody into Mulsanne Corner, and has brought gravel and nearly doom to Infratic at Indianapolis. This is an eventful lap by safety car standards.
It's just another Thursday night for TK.
Very true, very true. But indeed, it does mean that for all of the other drivers, they have another thing to worry about through the safety car laps, because, you're still trying to keep track of the strategy, still trying to keep your head in the game, and just having to think about all of the things going on, having to not die laughing at the unsafety car spinning off at Indianapolis. I'm not sure I'd be able to do that as a driver.
No, it's very tough when you're out there and you're in charge of race control as well. And we are into the final third now of this race. It is a one-stop race from this point onwards. 8 laps to go. 2 for those who decided they didn't want to come in and make a pit stop. So this becomes a case of settle down and do what you need to. One car will dive in. That's Nick Pakin making the call to dive into the pits, and they are all waiting for Matt 212 to rejoin the back of this group. That's why this unsafety car is going so long, because Matt had a coolant issue out there and would have to try and recover that back. Or I would say, in the case of Matt 212's situation, a stray sheep has walked across the field somewhere.
Indeed, yeah. Very probable things happening actually at Le Mans. It's quite out in, well, you can see in the background actually a lot of forest. So it has happened, unironically, that wildlife has ventured onto the track and has caused a few problems. It was known actually, for example, let's take this, the S's. It used to be called or it still is called the Forest S's, to be fair, where the trees used to line the side of the road. So, you know, it was a great spot to spectate, still is, to be fair. But yeah, this track known for its peculiarities, that's for sure. But indeed, I think in terms of strategy, there's quite a few drivers getting caught out, including Nick Pagan, because he's pitted now, but I don't think that's going to make it to the end. You know, you've got more than 5 laps, so this is now dire straits for anybody that isn't on the start of their stint, effectively.
Yeah, so this is a great reset point for many a driver now, as the unsafety car will pull away, and so that is going to be the call then for racing to resume here on the Mulsanne. Worst place for Brendan Hyperstar to get a restart, because everybody now is going to get up to speed with a tow, and that is the big drama that he's going to have to navigate through now. What position are you going to be at at the time that you need it to? The unsafety car will have to pull off at one of the chicanes then before the launch is there, but at least for the moment it's now all about pace set. Fabio in a perfect position. Alex Gillen wants to move himself up to the front of this race, and so now who can manage to say this is the race that they want on top of anything else? So for Brendan Hyperstar, a tough moment. Drivers trying to weave and get some temperature into their tyres now, because they know how critical it's going to be to get up to temperature, to get up to speed, and to get firing on all cylinders. So the weight there at about 120 kilometers an hour, waiting for that word to say, look, we can go. And so I reckon it will be around that second chicane that the launch is going to be had, because that is where the unsafety car has now stopped, and you'll see it there just in front. They've got the marker boards to it. They're about 300 meters away from that at this point. On that launch, you would have to expect Fabio to go and give absolutely everything. And don't count Ryan L83 out, and don't count Racing Chai out, and don't count Lamp out, or Conton Dal Olmo, because now it's about the launch that is needed, and they're still on hold, waiting for this jump to go. They're still not getting it, John.
Yeah, I think they're just all sitting behind, just waiting for a Mulsanne, just trying to not get caught up. But somebody has to go at some point, surely. I think all of them weaving are actually doing themselves a disservice with the tyre temperatures today. They might find themselves just overheating the tyres too quickly. They're still not going. The green light is there for a reason. What is the hold-up here? Brendan still not jumping on that throttle pedal. Well, you got an explanation for this, Jake?
Yeah, Matt 212's only just joined the back of the crew. Chesnoy Gaming there as well, the unsafety car waiting. There's the launch, there's the go, and it's caught out Alex Gillen massively then on this restart, because as he looks to try and get it sorted, it's Ryan L83 who got the jump. Racing Chai there in fifth, Lamp in sixth, but critically Brendan Hyperstar got the getaway that was needed, and all that deployment needed as they work themselves up towards Indianapolis corner. This is going to be a frantic restart. They go through, big set by Racing Chai, who goes and clips the front wing off of the likes of Alex Gillen, and now Lamp up to fourth, Dal Olmo to fifth.
Oh, huge lock-up by Lamp, nearly tagging him Fratic. That is wing damage for Razin as well. Huge damage on the car, so he'll probably have to come into the pits. What a disastrous restart. Also, the restart for Contan and anybody behind Contan was difficult, because they were mid-section in the corner at Mulsanne, so they couldn't get on the throttle like they wanted to. I think I saw Josh's Corner and Greedy Me going side by side as well, so there's a lot of battles happening in the midfield. Everybody trying to make it through, with Ryan very aggressive on the line through karting there, and maybe in Maison Blanche he can get it done into the Ford chicane. We've got, that is, I think, Grand Poubert. Yes, indeed, getting past, and oh, look at that in the background. Lithium Fox just getting swarmed by everybody, and Super Noodle Bagel it was making the overtake. But Razin, he has to come into the pit. Yeah.
Well, it's damaged. It's the only reason why Razin Chai would come in at this point in time, and every drive off the corner important. Punju through on Josh's corner, looking to pick up a place, and every place is going to count. 5 clear at the front, or 6 if you want to include Alex Gillen. Everyone else is stuck at the moment behind Super Noodle Bagel as they work down the hill through the descent de la Chapelle. Now over through, Gullish gains a place, Punju gains a place. They're now starting to look, and Brendan Hyperstar now in trouble because Ryan L83, Infratic and Lamp are all there, and they're going to have tow as they work themselves on the Mulsanne at the 3/4 stage.
Yeah, this is going to be chaos. You've got Contan and Alex Gillen. They ought to work together at this point to drag themselves back toward this battle. And Fabio is under pressure here. It's not much he's going to be able to do about it because we've got slipstream as well from Brendan Hyperstar. Who's going to go left? Who's going to go right? Who's going to stay in the slipstream? It seems like everybody is just saving fuel at this point. And that means Lamp just tags onto the back. Lamp goes for it. Decides, I am not waiting for this train. I want to take the lead. I want to get my screenshot at the top of the leaderboard. And he does so for the briefest of seconds. Ryan deciding to go for it as well. Everybody deciding to go for that pass just before Hunaudière. Just that kink to the right-hand side that you'll see just after the Michelin chicane right now. This is where you want to start setting up for that battle down into Mulsanne. You have to be tactical about it. You want the race lead right about now, which Ryan has, but Lamp on the inside. This is going to be breathtaking battle into the braking zone. Who will get it? Fabio, very aggressive tag by Fabio. That was so optimistic, but he just couldn't get it done, could he?
Stamp it on the Firestones and hope that you got yourself in play. Brendan Hyperstar down to 4th. Alex Gillen and Conton Dal Olmo have caught, but Ryan L83 leads. But there's this next run where you can go and get a launch, and now everybody stacks up behind and thinks, can I get an angle to the inside? The answer is no, 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 and no out there as they try and figure it out, the group. All together, little blocks being thrown, a little think of the inside by Brendan Hyperstar. That's not going to cut it, and Infratic having to leave the door half ajar, loses the car length on the run up to Arnage corner, and now very much looking defensive there in 3rd.
Yeah, the track clouding over as well. I think we've been noticing that just when the safety car came out. That means probably the temperature of the tyres will be a little bit more under control. You'll be able to push a little bit harder. That may open up some opportunities to at least get alongside, go for some overtakes. But for the moment, Brendan Hyperstar cannot find any way past Fabio at that moment. Infratic just trying to keep on pace with the front 2. Lamp and Ryan just seem to have that extra couple of tenths of a second through the last sector here. And yeah, it's going to be such a grandstand finish no matter what happens in this race, because that slipstream, that tow is crucial. Saving fuel at this point is a must, as well as they are 2 laps, just about 3 laps now into their race stint. Oh, drifting, synchronized drifting from Lamp and Infratic, but it's Infratic that gets off worse, just fishtailing off of the last turn, and he's lost 3 positions from that.
Well, this is why, in through the first part, grabs the second, little too early onto the throttle, has to take a trip through the kitty litter, and then has all sorts to try and navigate through. Dal Olmo also over the top then of the hill, has a little wiggle too, and that gives Ryan L83 now the gap over Lamp of 0.7 of a second. Not enough to run away, but that ultimate pace is not lying out there from Ryan L83 in the way that this race is going. He talked about it with us by taking the pole. Loves having this style of racing, loves this battle. This is Reska Kyoso now, and Greedy Me, and Hayden Gullis, 8th, 9th and 10th.
Yeah, the battle's happening up and down the grid. As you can see, just on the straight, you get a great picture of what is going on.
Punju's out.
Yeah. Oh, Punju has completely gone out of the race. Probably some damage on the car there, maybe run out of fast repairs, as indeed that is Greedy Me getting past Reska Kyoso. Hayden Gullis just trying to get in the mix as well. This is, again, just the battles are just happening, and everybody's remaining so calm about it. They're just predicting, trying to just move their chess pieces at the moment with 5 laps to go.
They know they've got one pit stop, and it might be about who's got the least amount of fuel to put in at the end, or if they do put full fuel in, who can go on to the higher fuel mix and burn, baby, burn, in terms of what they're looking at late. Back together again behind Ryan L83. Lamp sits there and watches. Brendan Hyperstar there, Alex Gillen and co. But if they've had to spend the entire straight at full throttle to close down 7/10, they wouldn't have done any fuel saving.
No, indeed. Just looking at lap times, Contan Delomos had quite a bad lap, to be honest. He's, I mean, stuck behind Alex Gillen here. Is moving or looking to make a move, but you can see there, Infratic is all over the back of Contan. And, oh, Contan gets so loose. Can he get it stopped? It's going to be so deep, nearly collecting Alex Gillen there. That was very skillful driving. I dare say the rallycross practice probably helping him out, but he's all over the place in terms of the brakes. He's locked up once again. I'm not exactly sure what's happening. Maybe moved the brake balance, but it has not worked out. Infratic will be over back. Oh, spin in the background. I think that's Hayden Gullisoff, perhaps.
Oh, shoot! They're upside down. Josh's corner's upside down. There's got to be an unsafety car for that. A massive accident. Storm Molina's caught up in it. It's a huge hit that has gone through. It starts with Hayden and Greedy Me, and it comes back across the circuit into an almighty accident. Safety car deployed.
Oh, the hit was before the turn, so Hayden collecting. And oh yeah, it just goes wrong and more wrong, and just everybody gets collected after the turn. That's so unfortunate. So what happened here? Just on the brakes. Oh yeah, just complete miscalculation. That was, I think it was Greedy Me just going cautious. Hayden didn't interpret that, and then yeah, everybody gets collected, just trying to keep pace, trying to keep that slipstream. It has not worked out. And when you see a car parked on the exit there, you have very little opportunity, as you can see, to avoid.
Well, here's a look from Josh's corner's perspective here. Sees the accident in front. Storm Molina, nowhere to go. He goes, I don't quite know what's happened. He's just gone to put the power on, and suddenly he's decided to become Concorde. Yeah,
I mean, there was no way out of that for Storm Molina, really. If you backed off, they're going to cause a contact from behind, as you saw. If you go for it, you've still got a car in front of you. You've got nowhere to go, and yeah, that's so unfortunate. And I think that will be a safety car or an unsafety car called. Will we see it have any more antics? Yeah, we have the confirmation right there, top left of your screen. It turns yellow. That means
Lamp stayed out.
That's an interesting one. They're on.
Lamp stayed out, and everybody else hit the lane.
Yeah, because they are on. That makes no sense whatsoever. They're on lap 4 of their stint. They need to pit at the end of this lap, no matter what. They're not making it to the end, and as you say, everybody else has pitted. I mean, what's going on there? That must have been a miscalculation. They just didn't expect that they're. Or didn't hear about the incident? I'm not sure. Everybody else seemed to be aware of it, that's for sure.
Oh, I think it was very much a decision of one stays in, I'll stay out. So Lamp, I think, was going to go, no, not everyone's going to come in, and then everyone went in.
Yeah,
Fabio, Fabio, where are you going, buddy?
Man, don't look at chat, Fabio. You got to look at the screen until you catch the safety car.
But racing as a creator.
Indeed, we've never made that mistake ourselves at all. I've run out of fingers to count the number of times I've made that mistake as a rally driver. I can tell you that much. But for Lamp, I mean, it doesn't make sense. Even if they say, well, I'm going to stay out because again, they've got no fuel. Essentially, fuel is the limiting factor. They have at best 1.5 laps of fuel behind the safety car, and then as soon as they do that, they've got to come in and pit anyway as soon as it goes green. So I think maybe a miscalculation there, or they know something that we don't, which is also possible.
Well, let's talk about a certain few things. You need help late on in the race, and I think Lamp has called on a friend to go out there and spot for him, and that is Clayton Bartlett, who's going to be in and helping between now and the end of this race. So the unsafety car comes out, and that will lead just the 5 laps left in this race, and they will tick them off and say, look, I'll love having that fuel available to me at the end of this. But Ryan L83, Brendan Hyperstar, then it's Conton Dall'Olmo, Alex Gillen, and then Infratic, your top 5. Lithium Fox. Now, we saw how Lithium pushed from 5th to 1st, now 7th on track right now, 6th net because Lamp needs to pit. What a great position this is for Lithium.
Yeah, and their best lap is actually really, really good and competitive at this point in the race. The consistency is there, the lap time is there, and I think there's just an opportunity to move forward at this restart, but you never know, really. It's you know, they're midfield, so it's kind of that place you don't want to be at a safety car restart. You've got some very fast drivers behind you as well. Reska Kyoso, Razin, Hayden Gullis, Matt 212 have all set great laps in this race. They haven't really had the luck, but you know, it is what it is, and we have, I think that's Punju back on track, so Punju has made it back out. They're just catching the safety car, the train, so they are about 30 seconds out, and you can see they're lifting on the straight to just stop the tyres from overheating. It's the speed. It reminds me of the Bugatti story of when they were making the Veyron. They had to ask Michelin to make specific tyres because as they were going up to top speed, the tyres were just disintegrating. It kind of feels like that for these Indy cars.
Absolutely, those Firestone tyres have gone through a whole heap of work, and here on the public roads here in the circuit, they 24 Uwe Dumont, it's going to be a tough end to this race. The one thing they will note though after a race like this, John, the champagne will never be as sweeter around any circuit than this, because we are in fact in Champagne country.
Yeah, they'll also need the champagne for the PTSD of the antics of the unsafety car as well, who has made it through Indianapolis. Can they make it through Arnage? Drum roll. Oh my goodness, they have. Everybody, get your popcorn out. It's happened, but can they make it through the Porsche curves? Now is the next part. Now is the gamble, and they are overheating their tires. Just want to point out as well, the unsafety car, when they were letting it loose on the Mulsanne straight, that was, I think it was 280 kilometers per hour. That's only 40 kilometers per hour slower than the top speed that we've seen today from the Indy cars.
Yeah, and I think that's rather telling in terms of the pace that they've got out of it today. They have put a whole heap of effort in to make that work, and they have done a great job in that Mustang, getting it up to those high speed levels and not having too much worry about it going on around. So that one's certainly proving that it can be as good as possible. I believe it's the V8 Mustang that they're running there from down under, so certainly giving a whole heap of pace vibes because it's great. But now the unsafety car will pull away, so Lamp, I think on this restart here, and it can be at any given point in time, I think he's just going to go hard right into the pits. I don't think he's got a choice unless he wants to start affecting the way this race will go. No, we'll stay out. And so now, well, that's an adventurous line into pit entry there from the unsafety car. But Lamp now looking for the launch, and it is conventional on the go. Gets the jump on Ryan L83 and immediately tries to break toe.
Okay, do they have enough fuel to make it to the end of the lap? Are they aware of this? I don't get it. I mean, okay, we'll have to wait and see. So get the popcorn still ready on the side table. It might have a utility still. Ryan goes quite deep into the Dunlop chicane, though. He's lost a huge ton of ground. That will put him under pressure from Brendan. And yeah, Quentin's still struggling, I think, with the brakes for some reason. Alex Gillen's got past in 4th place, and now Infratic on the back of him. Lithium Fox has managed to maintain that 7th place, so look out for them, although they're under pressure. Oh, contact, that's Matt 212 and Hayden Gullis that made contact. Matt has a little bit of wing damage, but it's Hayden that has come off worse in that collision.
Yeah, but that is a Hayden accident. So, upside down again. Another huge accident then that's gone through on the straight. That is massive for Quentin Dalolmo.
I think, was that... no, that wasn't. That was Chesnoid. That was Chesnoid's connected as well. So what's happened here? So Alex has gone wide. This is contact. Alex has slowed down. Oh, slow down penalty for both of them, and Infratic has collected them, haven't they?
Fabio has gone flying. And that's the only way I can describe it, as there was a little bit of a slow there for Alex Gillen, and Fabio has not spotted it and has just gone screaming into the back. What a huge incident on the Mulsanne, and suddenly it is just Lamp, Ryan L83, Brendan Hyperstar, and the fight for 4th, which is Lithium Fox, Alex Gillen, and Reska Kyoso. So that could be 2 VTubers in your top 5.
Yeah, it's great to see. You know, you love you know, we've had so much new talent this season that it's so good to see. Well, that's unfortunate. Lithium Fox up to P4. Come on, maybe a podium. And there's chaos in the background, to be fair, after that, as I think Matt 212's gone wide as well and lost 2 positions out of that as well. Punju is dropping down the order, so it's all kicking off now.
Stormalina around as well. I think Punju's just about escaped unscathed, and a big incident there at the back, and that will take them all out of contention. Now, I wonder at what point does Lamp decide, I can't make it from this place. We'll look at Ryan L83, we'll look at Brendan Hyperstar and say, it's hand-to-hand combat, it's 1v1 versus you two.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if Lamp does not pit this lap, we have something wrong with our telemetry, surely, because that's 5 laps into a stint. You're marginal on fuel at 4 laps. Like, maybe they can just coast through the Porsche curves as they're doing right now. They still seem to have fuel on board, so that's some major lifting and coasting going on, but they have to peel into the pits now. And with what is effectively going to become 3 laps to go, that's not an optimal strategy whatsoever. Let's have a look. Will they dive into the pit lane?
Well, it will have to be to the right, and there it goes. Lamp needed to pit and will do so. So that will now give over to the race lead, Ryan L83, and then Brendan Hyperstar will have to chase. Reska Kyoso currently in 3rd with Lithium Fox, Alex Gillen, Racing Chai, Sparks, who's had a quiet day at the office today, and then Matt 212. About half the field is down in the pit as it currently stands, but now here comes the chances for those to scrap. Taking a little look then behind the likes then of those of Racing Chai. This is Sparks working down the hill, thinking that podium or top 5 is still in the offing.
Yeah, for sure, anything can happen, and it looks like drivers are getting a little bit unsettled now, trying to just push a little bit more. They realise they don't have a lot of time left, so they have to go for it. Would that be another slowdown for Alex? He was very wide off of Tertre Rouge, but it looks like they've kept it flat out. Looks like Razin just needs to get the top speed up here. Let's see what kind of speeds they're hitting. I mean, Alex is already 323, 324, 325. These are the fastest speeds I've seen. We're approaching 327 kilometers per hour in that slipstream. You can see catching up to Lithium Fox. It should be an overtake, but once again, as soon as you pull out of that slipstream, you just end up going nowhere because you're hit with the wall of air. And Lithium Fox is also getting a slipstream in front from Reska Kyoso, so they're working together.
Absolutely they are. They'll be in the same voice call at the moment saying, come on, give me a tow, I'm under pressure here. And so it's going to be a case of held it steady and did everything necessary to keep that one in play. The gap was about 1.3 at the front. It's now down to 0.4 of a second. Alex Gillen gets a second life though, getting that run through with a bit of push to pass, makes the move sorted. Sparks now lunges down the inside of Mulsanne corner. That'll be one through. Racing Chai will try and put that into play. It's not just a case of where are you on the last lap, but it's where are you compared to everyone else. Racing getting really close.
Yeah, Lithium Fox just decided that they didn't want anything to do with that corner whatsoever. They just backed out of it, let everybody through. Probably sensible still, with at least 2.5 laps to go. But at the front, I mean, the pace from these two is just ramping up right now. It is a case of, can you stick with it? Can you keep it going? Ryan and Brendan are just locked in this battle at the front. They're dropping Reska Kyoso, who's busy battling with Alex Gillen. You can see them just coming through, are now in the background. And yeah, this is just setting up to be a 2-horse race. But once again, you know, will the tires last? Will everything be okay? And who will go for that decisive move? Because drivers don't have the opportunity to just say, I'll do it next lap.
They don't, because they'll know that they're down to only a couple of laps to go. And Alex Gillen under pressure here from Sparks. Oh, wiggle. Oh, that could have been it there for Alex Gillen. He had to back out of it. That would have scared Sparks through the middle of the Porsche curves. Worst place to have an incident. The car is all loaded up and you can't unload it.
Well, that might be a slowdown penalty. I don't think so. But hang on a minute. Razin's not got enough fuel to make it to the end. Wait a second. 4 laps into the stint. That's going to be 1 lap short no matter what happens. That is disastrous for Razin. Maybe they can do some lifting and coasting, but surely the attack is off right now. Lithium Fox needs to get a move on. And just as if we needed more confirmation from Ryan that the pace is there. That is a ridiculous lap time. A 3:10.6. That is faster than his qualifying lap.
He is on another level at this moment in time, in sim time. We head to 2:15 in the afternoon. Not much wind around. This is a day where it is bright sunshine to be expected and a track temperature right now that is sitting at a cool 24 degrees. He is just in the zone. He's pulled 2 seconds over Brendan Hyperstar. There is not much that he can do. He's using some push to pass here as Brendan, but I don't think he can carry the same sort of speed through the corners. Sparks with a slowdown penalty. Through goes Lithium Fox and Rasinchai.
I think Brendan must have made a mistake into the Dunlop chicane, really, because they were only 1 second across the line, and now it's 2 seconds, so there's something that's happened there in that first sector. But, I mean, Razin's still pushing. Razin's still creating that gap in the air. Lithium Fox will get past, but they've got a big gap now to Alex Gillen and Reska Kyoso, so it looks like the battle for the podium is between 2 drivers at the moment, but that question mark still remains about the fuel. He's fighting it out. Lithium Fox takes the position. Alex moves up into a podium position. It's all kicking off. Brendan Hyperstar is coming back at Ryan as well. The tune of 0.3 of a second right now. It's not over yet. So what will we see? Reska Kyoso to the inside. Alex doesn't decide to fight it. He will choose to fight on the last lap. Tries to do the switchback, but just doesn't have the positioning for it. Lithium Fox P5 now, but still punching that hole through the air. No opportunity to catch Alex Gillen at the moment. The slipstream just isn't there.
It's tough to try and find a way to make that slipstream count, but when you need pace and you need it late, count on Ryan Littlemore here, Ryan L83, to hold himself with enough pace, with enough regard to say, I can cover it, but it's still 1.3, 1.4, there or thereabouts. It's Reska Kyoso just about staving off the challenges that are there in front, and that's a lock-up, and there was a mistake as well, same lock-up for Ryan L83, so the gap's back down to 0.8 at the front, and Reska Kyoso being a bit restless at the moment. Alex Gillen will be looking for any way through, and we know if Alex Gillen makes a move, and if there's any contact, it's never his fault.
It's so much more difficult now to make an overtake because most of the corners have gravel, at least on the apex. You could see there through Arnage that as soon as you hit the apex, Alex was trying to get the under sort of like loop back to try and get up the inside, but it just wasn't happening. The traction not there, and Alex has made a mistake there and just a twitch. Razin is, as I guess, out of fuel. There you go. It didn't make it to the end, and they're in Indianapolis. They're not making it back from there.
Absolutely not. Last lap starts 1.3, 1.4. It is over the line, and so it's going to be all down to these. The battle for the win, the battle for the podium, which is out there at the moment, and now 5th and 6th join the fray as well with Lithium Fox and Sparks. Now 1.8 here for Reska Kyoso in terms of safety, 1.6 working through, 1.7 now through this chicane, and so now heading towards Tete Rouge corner. This is the critical corner that will make or break the race for Brendan Hyperstar. He has got to try and use that boost, anything and everything he's got, but he knows that Ryan L83 is there. Everyone will have saved boost for the final lap. Reska Kyoso able to save that as well. Lamp gets the pity fastest lap. Sparks might go for a top 5 as well, chasing down on Lithium Fox, and that will be the closest one out there. There's the gap at 1.6 seconds. No help for Ryan at this moment. Moves over, and look at this, weaving along the mole sand to try and break some toe. 1.4 is the gap now at the front, and it will look to try and close itself down. Lithium Fox side by side with Sparks for 5th. Sparks is through then for that position at the moment. Through the Honoriers they will come soon, and out through this second of chicanes they fly by. 1.1 is now the gap, and so you're looking to try and say Indianapolis corner is probably the last great place to go and get a move, and you're going to need some toe and you're going to need some slipstream, and it's down to a second. Reska Kyoso under pressure now from Alex Gillen too, in the scrap for the podium as well, so that will look like it's going to get through. Lithium Fox has fought away back and has moved away back up into play. There's Kyoso, there's Lithium Fox side by side with Sparks. They're going to go all the way at it as they run. 0.9 of a second is the gap at the front of this field, and now pulling back into line. Are there going to be any last chances, any dalliances that will be broken in these final stages? Here comes the chance again from Sparks, and there is no move, but it's 0.6 now as they head through. Huge lock-up from Brendan Hyperstar behind. Locks up all the tyres and now sees that it's going to be about hold your nerve through the final few corners here. 1.2. It's a bridge too far at the moment. Alex Gillen is up to third, and now it could be a case of where's this podium going? Sparks with a good run. Little too deep there from Leth, and he's going to have to worry about now through the final section of corners here, and who is going to be able to hold themselves steady through the Porsche curves for one last time. The gap looks a bit too much. Wiggle there through the middle for Ryan L83, but he has worked himself through the traffic. He has on multiple occasions jumped top through, and on a day in which INDYCar has come to Le Mans, he can! He's Ryan L83! Promise fulfilled! Destiny found! A car he loves! A car he put on pole! A win that he will be so proud of! Ryan L83 wins it!
What an amazing drive from the front too. They had the pace. They demonstrated it. It will be Alex Gillen getting that podium. And Lithium Fox has just defended P5 as well. What grandstand finish from all of them. I'm sure that there will be some disappointments from late lockups and mistakes. You've got Sparks over the line, Nick Paken and Matt212 completing the race as well. Punju has made it up into the top 10 after that disastrous mid-race session, let's say, where he had a few incidents. Scotty Designs completing the top 10. I mean, what can you say, really? Ryan seems to have it all figured out mid-race, just trying to, you know, out-strategize everybody, and that strategy disaster from Lamp, as we've still got some racing between Greedy Me and Storm Molina. So who can... Oh, Storm Molina locks up completely through Arnage. This will give the overlap to Greedy Me. Not a side-by-side through the Porsche curves again. Please, no. Tell me no, Jake. No, Greedy Me slots back in. But that's kind of the last opportunity for an overtake there.
Yeah, because you know you're in line and you just got to hold steady. There's a lot of wash as you go through turbulence through the corners, so now you got to try and hold yourself steady, work through that, find a line that suits you, and you got to roll with the punches through this section. You just got to respond to what the car tells you. Coming through Maison Blanche and now through those chicanes, then past the karting chicane on the right hand side. The Ford chicane is next. This is the last throw of the dice down the inside, and Greedy Me thought about it initially, forces the line, but now doesn't have the drive for the rear quarter mont. Now needs something off the exit, jumps over the curb. That ain't gonna work. Greedy Me's gonna lose out to Storm Molina in the battle then to the line. But a crazy day of racing, and one which was well worth its weight in gold for Ryan L83. Look at that, Doey's on the Mulsanne.
Oh yes, that's aura farming at this point. Just donuts on the Mulsanne. I mean, you couldn't make it up if you tried. That is a celebration worthy of the race he has had. I mean, he hasn't really put a foot wrong in this one. He's had it all under control, as I said, and just managed to outclass everybody when he needed. He put that pace down in that one lap, a 3:10.6 during the race.
Engine.
And he said, well, I mean, wouldn't you at the end of a race like this, to be fair?
Well, that is very, very true out there, and that is a penalty of 1,870 for donuts per second. So that is a big penalty there out there for Ryan L83. He has failed scrutineering because he doesn't have an engine to scrutineer at the end of this race. So that will certainly hurt in that regard. Super Noodle Bagel will be, well, S for sarcasm, of course. But you look around there and say, look, that is a great race. Let's get confirmation of results then, as the last drivers then are making it across the line. Chesnoy Gaming will be that last driver over and has just found the finish. Ryan L83, as we watch Hayden Gullis dancing through the gravel, will take the win, and will do so as by 1.8 over Brendan Hyperstar there, as it will be Alex Gillen who will round out the final spot on the podium ahead of Reska Kyoso and Lith Fox, who will make sure it's two VTubers in the top 5. Sparks, your championship leader overall. This is a non-championship scoring round. Will take 6th ahead of Nick Paken in 7th, with Matt212 in 8th, Punju in 9th, and Scotty Designs rounding out the top 10 from 22nd on the grid. Lamp would not have enough fuel, would end up in 11th ahead of Ancephalosis and Storm Molina. Greedy Me being P14 ahead of Josh's Corner and Conton Dal-Olmo. A lot of these drivers getting caught in incidents late on in the race. Dal-Olmo had a car vaulting over the top of him. Hayden Gullis was not that car. He gets 17th. He led once. Chesnoy Gaming is in 18th with Super Noodle Bagel 19th, a lap down, and Rasin Chai out of fuel 2 laps away. Infratic deciding he wanted to try and do some flight sim rather than some racing today. Ends up in 21st with Grand Pooh Bear out then 4 laps from the end. And then Moonhead beaten by the unsafety car in terms of lapping around this circuit. John, wowee, what an incredible run. Look, it's so dramatic here that I have absolutely no idea what has happened.
Well, your camera just has no idea either, apparently. There we go. We've got some auto-focusing, manual autofocus going on here. But, I mean, that race had it all, didn't it? Slipstreaming, the strategy, the tyres completely cooking themselves after 1 lap. And as we're trying to do some voodoo magic. There you go, for the camera. Lovely stuff. See, Jake can fix anything on this live stream. Lovely. But it's one of those things that you don't think about the gloriousness of taking Indy cars to Le Mans until you've done it, and then you go, wow, that worked out really well.
Le Mans is a very special place, and it will be a very special place for a very special driver joining us, Ryan L83, here with us. And I would say the perfect result there for you. You had a little bit of help there from the likes of Fabio and Conton Dal-Olmo. They created a distraction behind you to give you the one-on-one scrap you needed.
Yeah, I mean, I generally didn't even realise it was a 2-horse race at the end there with Brendan there, but yeah, it always helps, you know. The last restart of that safety car was a bit anxious because obviously there's 7 people in a draft. It's going to be carnage, and I'm kind of glad that that sort of happened in a sense because, as you just said, it makes the pressure less. It was just only one driver I had to worry about. But yeah, it was a nerve-wracking into the race, I will have to say, for me. But no, just happy to win the one car that I had a chance of winning in Indy last season, so it's nice to get eventually a win in this car.
So we noticed that you all saved up boost for the end of the race. So I think there was about 20 seconds of deployment of boost over that last lap. So a lot of strategy planning going on through that. What do you think made it the win for you? Was it the strategy? Was it just the pace? I mean, you set a 3:10.6, which was faster than your quali lap in the race. I mean, just explain to us how you do it.
I mean, as I think Jake will know, I've driven on iRacing for many years, and the Indycar was one of the main cars I've driven over the years, so I know the characteristics of the car, especially on the road side of things. So I kind of knew what worked, what didn't work, played around with our anti-roll bar settings and stuff in particular sections, especially the alternate tyre strategy that I did after the first safety car, and kind of regret the strategy I did there. It's probably one of 2 moments I think I could have done a bit better. Because I lost a lot of time to Lamp when he eventually overtook me net P1 in the race. And then near the end as well, and I think it was 23, I went a bit too deep into the corner after Indianapolis and nearly clipped the barrier and gave Brendan a chance to try and catch up there. And I had a good strat with the push to passes. I left quite a lot for the end of the race, but because of that late safety car, I had to try and think strategically when to use it, and I probably used about after the 3/4 mark of 3/4 of the way down Mulsanne, I used it just to try and stop a move, and then after Mulsanne on the straight before Indianapolis, used a little bit probably when I got to 5th gear just to try and stop Brendan from gaining a little bit. But I was just keeping my eye on the gaps, and I think Brendan was trying to do the same with his push to passes. I don't know what his was at the end or on the last lap, but as I say, push to passes is critical, especially on the road side of things when you only have 200 seconds to play with for the whole race. So that was probably the biggest management I had to do throughout the race.
It's a big win, it's an important win, but when you're going to take that power back down and you're going to head to USA International Speedway next week with the F4s, what's that going to look like for you in terms of getting the Creator Series season back on track for you?
Yeah, I think this win, I know this doesn't count towards the championship, but it's one that I wanted to have as like a confidence boost after what happened at Winton in the last round. So I think it's a good reset for me. recharge the batteries. It's an oval race, so out of my comfort zone, especially in a car that I've never done before on an oval, so it should be quite interesting. Haven't driven the track since my rookie days, and that was 2012, so it's going to be a bit of practice for me on there, but I think the main focus is just to try and just claw some points away from Sparks in the championship. I know there's a few others around there, but as last week proved, anything can happen in the early stages, and I think now round 3 is going to be the critical moment of the championship for a lot of people, and it's just going to be keeping it on the road, avoid incidents, have a consistent pace, good strategy for this next race coming up, and just see how we get on. But it's a nice reset for me to win today, and hopefully now mount a challenge for the championship this season.
Just perhaps a bit of a last question possibly from me. In terms of just explaining to our viewers, what, if anything, can you take from this car into the F4 car to sort of optimize your pace, or is there any sort of similarity between the two?
I think it's quite hard to, compare the two, because obviously this has been set up for Le Mans. It's going to be obviously push to pass. There's a lot of downforce in the car compared to the F4. Throttle input's a lot different because you can get a little bit more confident on the power out of slow corners in the F4 compared to this. You have to be so precise with your throttle inputs. But I think for people who haven't driven the F4 this year prior to this championship, it's another test session for these guys, because there's got a lot more power, there's a lot more downforce in this IndyCar, but it helps them, when they go to a slower car with a little less downforce. It helps them a lot, John. So it's a good car, I think, to throw in for the season, and will help a few people out. But yeah, it'll be a bit of a contrast to next week when we hit on an oval compared to this when we're going over 300 Ks, and going fast through corners and not trying to survive Porsche curbs when there's gravel on the track. And I nearly died a few times with the gravel on there. So, but yeah, it'll be a nice change of scenery next week, and we get back to our beloved F4.
Well, we'll wish you the best of luck in terms of that next week. Ryan L83, your winner here today from the wonderful Le Mans circuit. Brendan Hyperstar ended up in second position overall. And Brendan, I think the only way to describe it is that he had the legs on you today.
Just going to get communication back.
There we go.
We can hear you now.
No, you definitely had a pace advantage. I mean, I was saying earlier, like with Lamp and Ryan, they're definitely carrying me with their draft. It was pretty clear on the out of slow speed corners, they had better drive, but it's a pretty crazy race. I mean, we lucked out with a safety car 3 separate times, which, based on our season so far, I'll take it. So we were in the right position every time. We made the right calls every time, and it was a really fun combo. Not on the red tires, though. The reds were... the alternate tire was terrible, but fun in its own way, but I was glad to get off of them.
You had a lot of boosts left, according to what I could see at the last lap. Was there any opportunity there to maybe catch Ryan? I think we noticed that you may have made a mistake on the penultimate lap. So how close was it? Did you have an opportunity maybe into that last lap?
I had to drive it really deep into Indianapolis to be close. My goal is if I could maybe get to the inside at Porsche curves, and then if I could hold it side by straight through there, and then the right-hander after the kind of the mini straight where the safety barrier is, that was my hope. If I could keep that inside line, maybe I have a shot. But that required me to be close, and I just wasn't close enough coming out like places like Tetra Rouge and basically all the places that were the overall lap time matters. But he drove a really good race, and I am happy I was within a couple seconds with him, because I feel like most of these races with the Formula cars are not particularly close. Le Mans gave me that advantage. More technical circuit, he definitely has me. He has my number basically for the most part. But yeah, really excited with how he did today. It was a fun race.
So you still have a 100% podium ratio in the Creator Series now in IndyCar machinery. You will now be looking to an oval in 7 days' time at USA and lower Formula. Do you believe that is still your domain when it comes to next week, or do you believe that someone else is going to come out of the woodwork firing on all cylinders?
I think that'll kind of be a wild card because, like, I don't particularly like driving junior Formula cars on ovals because often it's kind of like a pack race. It won't be that way USA International, but that is to say that's not a style of oval racing I'm really used to. But I naturally I would like to think I have an advantage, and I would kind of be disappointed if I did not win that race, honestly. So I hope I can, and we'll see what happens. That car was never designed for ovals, so we'll see how it drives as well.
So a little thought also to today's race. In terms of the unsafety car, do you have maybe any comments to make about the maybe sort of antics that we saw today?
I was saying, did I like mind punt him? Like he.
No, just the unsafety car driving itself into all sorts of trouble multiple times at Indianapolis, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it spun out. I was in the lead, yeah, and it spun out like right in front of me, and I was like, well, I can't say I could do a much better job. I've always joked that, like, I know like a league like V8 Scops is like their own manual safety cars too, and like I would be terrified, honestly, to be like a manual safety car because I probably would have ended up doing something worse. So, but I thought it was pretty funny. It's nice having that because if we didn't have that, then we'd be stuck under caution forever. So, it was good to have. I'm glad that we have that in this series.
A great day in the office for Brendan Hyperstar, who joins us with a second place finish here today from this Circuit de la Sarthe. But John, it's time to take ourselves away from the pomp and pageantry of French sim racing out here at Le Mans and take ourselves all the way back to the US of A.
Yeah, I mean, oval racing, I have a newfound respect for it. There's so much technical stuff that goes into it, and I've been kind of learning the ropes of that as I go along, to be fair. And the more I read into it, the more I watch, the more I actually think, you know what, you have to have a lot of talent and a lot of just capacity to think while you're mid-pack. And I think it's going to be a spectacle in the F4 cars. You know, you're going to have a lot of close racing, and I'm sure there are going to be some antics and shenanigans to throw in there. So I can't wait personally.
I can't either. It's 7 days away from us here on Creator Series and on iRacing. This is the best place to go and catch some amazing sim racing action that is in full flow as they get themselves ready for the next leg of their championship, the middle leg. They will look at the USA International Speedway and say, we're going to bump the formula down. What a great race it was for Ryan L83, picking it up with pure pace, with pure talent, saying, I am better than everybody else. From Gareth Allen behind the scenes, John Harris has been alongside me, TK in the safety car, and me, Jake Sperry, saying good night, good night.